truth?
Only one truth.
With consequences.
And that's the truth that I know.
It's time to answer. Bash of the Beach 2000.
Many stories.
Brawl for all.
Definitely having second thoughts.
David Arquette is world champion.
Publicity.
Hear the real story behind the scenes of wrestling's biggest moments. The Montreal Screwjob.
Only one person, and that was me.
Vince Russo's Truth with Consequences. You ready to start this?
Yes, sir.
All right, so 3, 2, 1, play. And I got to mute it and put on the captions. Now we're looking at a montage. Who would have been in charge of this package right here?
This would have been probably, bro, the master, David Zahadi, who was an artist through and through, bro. David could have worked in any genre he wanted to work in, movies, TV. He was a pure artist. Definitely, bro. It might be fair to me to say the most creative person I ever worked with.
He's very, he's like the Jim Johnson of video. He really brings these guys to life. And this is a really great package we're looking at. If you're not watching it, it's just black and white pictures of each guy, their face, and then something they're doing. I always remember the thing he did with the Kid Rock song. Do you remember that? Did you ever see that?
I don't recall. I don't recall that.
I'll have to show it to you. It's this amazing Kid Rock montage that he did. It was just amazing. But Zahadi's the man. This Survivor Series Deadly Games, why name the show?
Just to make it different, bro. Just to make it seem more special. You know what I mean? Another thing, I just want to get back to Zahadi for a second too, bro. And Matt, you can attest for this. I don't think people realize the time that goes into those packages. I mean, you're talking hours and hours and hours of pulling clips and then piecing those clips together. Hours of time, bro.
Yeah, I make a lot of videos, and I'm not particularly good at it. I know how to do it. Guys like Chris McDonald and Dave Silva are awesome at it. And you have to have not just a musical aesthetic, but a visual aesthetic. But you also have to understand music to make it work, too. It's an amazing thing, time-wise and talent-wise.
Yeah.
Look at this
the
crowd,
thing that
man.
always catches me about this time, Matt, was the signs.
The signs were amazing, and when you watch it, it's almost
amazing.
When you watch 80s, especially like Crockett era 80s wrestling where people are screaming the whole time, the signs are the equivalent. But I'll tell you what, if you went to an Attitude Era show, man, it could be annoying, those people having signs in front of you.
Okay. Well, I never had to sit on the other side, so I wouldn't know. But I can definitely see that. I mean, without a doubt, bro. Look how thick and full Mr. Lawler's hair is, huh?
I tell you what, he looks fantastic. He looked thick and full in a lot of ways. He was a little heavier back then. Now, this was a big gamble in a way. If you didn't have your big swerve coming, who was able to sell Vince McMahon on one of the big pay-per-views having a tournament? Because we know he doesn't like tournaments.
Yeah, well, that's the thing, Matt. Tournaments don't draw, bro. They don't draw. Every company I was with, bro, when we did a tournament on TV, it never drew. So the numbers told you that tournaments didn't draw. But, again, bro, we were successful because Vince really trusted us, bro. So, we pitched him this, obviously told him what we wanted to do, and he trusted us. So we were able to be successful.
How crucial was and important was getting Big Boss Man back? He seemed to fit an important role for you guys when he came back to WWE.
Very important, bro. Just getting a veteran like that and being able to plug him in, bro. A gentleman, just a gentle giant, bro. A professional, the yes sir, no sir type. I mean, come on, bro. We were blessed. We were really blessed.
Who's more beloved than Ray Traylor? Like I know, Terry Runnels always carries, believe it or not, Terry Runnels always carries around a Big Boss Man figure. And when I recorded her podcast with her, we recorded it in her room once, and she had it like set up under a light, comfortable. She goes, I always bring Ray with me. Like, I think a lot of people think a lot of Ray Traylor.
Yeah.
Look at this guy.
This is who I was going to say. I swear to God, I was about just to say Mick. I mean, maybe Mick was as beloved as Ray, but beloved. Bro, I never heard anybody say one bad word about Boss Man. This is incredible. Just the visuals, bro. Look at these freaking visuals, man. Yeah, I'm a very visual person. I mark out for stuff like this.
So Mankind goes around. He's coming to the ring. In case you're not watching, he's hugging all the Stooges and Slaughter, and he hugs McMahon, who hugs him willingly, but just has that look of disgust on his face.
That's the thing that pisses me off when I get the old "you take credit for everything." How could I possibly take credit for something like that? Yeah, you know what I mean? It's those little freaking nuances that just made this show incredible.
Now, we're not in the business, and you're not in the business of kissing Mr. McMahon's ass, but you guys even must have been surprised at the way this guy stepped up in the ring and also stepped up as an actor. Like, he never acted a day in his life. He was a broadcaster, a straight man. But I mean, look at him now. He's unbelievable. He's a master thespian, I tell you.
It's unbelievable, bro. We were blessed. Look at Mick. See, these are what's called the nuances. These are the things like that. Just, I don't think a lot of the younger guys just know how to do this. Mick knows exactly where he's positioned. He knows exactly where the camera is. He knows what's going on here.
And so we're looking at Vince McMahon. He's reading off basically how they're going to screw Steve Austin and how they're going to give the title to Mankind at the end of this tournament. And that's the setup, right? The setup is that Mankind is the corporate guy because he's who Vince is stuck with. But you've left a lot of little breadcrumbs along the way to let you know that maybe Mankind might not be the guy, right?
I don't know if we did. I don't know if we did, bro. I don't know if the unsuspecting people even saw what was coming at the end of this night. I really don't know.
So we're watching.
And you know why I say that, Matt? Let me tell you why I say that. Can I tell you why?
Sure.
I was in the building when the finish happened. Right. You could hear a pin drop, bro. There was no reaction. And the people for a second were in unison. What just happened here?
Now, this is an amazing story, and I got to talk to the guy, Dwayne Gill. I talked to him 2 days ago. We hung out, we had dinner. He looks pretty much the same, and I was interviewing him, and I told him this thing was an opportunity for Dwayne Gill to move up from enhancement talent. He had been down south. People knew him as an enhancement talent. But the idea is we're bringing somebody in who's going to really give Mick Foley a run for his money, and he's going to challenge him. But here comes Dwayne Gill. But Dwayne Gill ran with this, and look at him. Everything he was telling me, all this is improv. He improv'd a lot of this.
Oh, no. See, again, bro, it's the take credit for. These are pros, bro. They put themselves in the moment. The way he just sold the pyro, bro, I didn't tell him to do that.
He literally talked about that the other day. And
right.
You want to talk about a brass ring job.
Yes.
This was Dwayne Gill doing this. And then, of course, people used to rib him and call him Gilbert and chant Gilbert to him. And then one day it's like, guess what, buddy? You're Gilbert.
Yep.
And, we talked to him about that. And Foley, I mean, not enough is made of Foley being one of the all-time greats, right?
No, man, I don't think so. I don't think so. I don't know, man. Maybe it's because he makes himself so accessible. And he's out there and he's always talking with the people. And I don't know. Maybe that's it. But my God, he was one of the all-time greats.
Absolutely. Now, at this time and point, what are you doing at this? When you're there, you're in the building, right? During this, where would you be?
Yeah, basically, what I'm probably doing is I'm probably working with the talent in the back that have like vignettes and promos coming up. Making sure they're prepared, making sure they're in the right spot, making sure the cameras and the audio are there. That's basically what I did more or less throughout the show. When I wasn't producing, I would try to get to the gorilla position to watch the show, and then I would also try to get in the crowd to listen to the people.
Now, Mankind's very happy. He has won the first round, and he is going to the back, and now we see a Monday Night Heat segment with Jacqueline doing the Pearl Harbor job to Sable, setting up Jacqueline and Sable. How long are we staying on Twitch? Are we going to stay on Twitch for
Well, you know what? That was such a short match, and it was really a gimmick match. Let's give him a match.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking too.
Yeah, let's give him a match. Kevin Kelly.
So you talk a lot about you had to do SmackDown, you had to do Raw, but you did Heat too, right?
Yes, we did Heat as well. Yes, we did. Yep.
They're not enough. Look at young Kevin Kelly. Good God, right?
Yeah. Kevin Kelly just told the story on Jericho that I could talk about. Sometimes I get afraid to talk about stuff, Matt, because I'm like, oh, geez, is so-and-so going to remember? And then am I going to be a liar again? But, bro, Vince McMahon wanted to fire Kevin Kelly and was ready to fire him. Do you know this story?
I don't.
Yeah, and I was at Vince's house. I said, Vince, don't fire Kevin. I said, he's got a young child, don't fire Kevin. Let him work for me on the magazine. And that's what Vince did. Vince let Kevin Kelly come over and work with me on the WWE magazine.
And here, coming to the ring, walking inside the ring with his newly acquired valet, Deborah McMichael, wife of one of the worst wrestlers of all time, Steve McMichael. We have Jeff Jarrett. Look at Jeff. He looks the exact same right now that he does there. It's pretty amazing.
He looks like $1 million. He looks great. Always in great shape. Never out of shape. Always look like $1 million. Always true to the character. Always maybe the most dependable wrestler that I ever worked with ever.
And what about working with Deborah McMichael? What was the experience with her?
Deborah was great. I still stay in contact with her today. I still talk to her here and there. Very good to work with. Very, very, very professional.
Now, you've told me that you weren't a big ECW watcher. You didn't watch a whole lot of stuff, but one guy that got your attention was the old Leaf Cassidy, Al Snow, right?
Absolutely. I saw the head gimmick. Literally, bro, I remember probably a Friday night, because I think that's when ECW used to be on, and I put it on the old TNN, and I saw the ring filling up with mannequin heads. And I'm like, what the frick is this? And that's when I went back to Vince, and I said, bro, you got to bring this act, back. And that's how we brought Al Snow back. Bro, and you talk about looking the same today. Here's another guy. Al Snow looks tremendous.
He's in
today.
Better shape right now.
Yes,
he's in
tremendous.
Better shape now.
But man, bro, you want to talk about two of the all-time greatest performers, man. I mean, here they are right here, bro.
And Al Snow doing, I guess, a senton off the stairs. It was interesting about Al Snow because he worked his gimmick, but he's one of these guys who is capable of so much physically that he didn't do. The guy was a high flyer. He could do moonsaults. The
guy could do anything,
and he learned how to do it. Now Jeff and Al are going at it. A stun gun coming. Jeff really knew how to make people hate him.
Oh, Jeff was great, bro. So I get a lot of heat, with WCW. He was my boy. But like I said, bro, he never got hurt, and you always knew the match you were going to get. He could cut a promo. He can get himself over. He can get heat. He can make other people look good. I mean, there wasn't a reason to not put Jeff in that spot.
And let me tell you, if I'm putting together a band or I'm putting together a pit orchestra for a play, and I have two guys I can choose from, and one is better and one's easier to work with, I'll always get the guy who's easier to work with.
Yeah. Am I the lead singer of that band?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. It's all Jimmy Buffett parody songs.
Very nice. Very nice.
So these guys are in the tournament, right? Al Snow and Jeff Jarrett. And it's really interesting to see these guys, because both these guys are kind of still wrestling right now.
Yeah, they are. They are.
And the crowd's not really into this match as much as they're into. I think they're probably pacing themselves. You're backstage. What's a scene like backstage besides you talking to people? Was it a hustle and bustle, or was it pretty organized?
No, it's always hustle and bustle, bro. You could be so prepared, but it's always hustle and bustle. Basically, bro, making sure that the guys up next are getting ready, and they're waiting in gorilla, and they're ready to go. It was always hustle and bustle, bro. And there's a major screw up during the last match on this show.
Oh, really?
And it was somebody not being in place where they needed to be at the right time.
Of the previous match, Wade Keller on Prosing Torch said Mankind pinned Dwayne Gill at 0.29. Mankind gave Gill a double arm DDT and cradled him for a quick pin. The crowd, for the first of many times of the night, didn't know quite how to react. Mankind left, holding up his hardcore title belt. He's returned to the back, non-rated. Do you think that Keller and people like that kind of missed the point of a match like the Dwayne Gill match?
Absolutely. Like, why are you rating that match, bro? Like, it's a gimmick. It's part of the storyline. That's what matters. That match didn't matter.
And we see we have Head, we have Deborah McMichael, we have Head.
Yeah, I got to be honest with you, and I don't know if I'm allowed to say this anymore in 2018.
Probably not.
But when I look at something like this, Matt, like, how the hell did that skirt not hike up?
Man, you guys had so many moments like that.
I don't know how those women did it. I found out, Matt, I swear to God, I didn't know this. I would find out later on like that they taped their boobs in. Like this,
yeah.
one of the girls had to smart me up about that, because I'm like, how the hell do you not fall out? And they smartened me up. But like, God, especially Deborah.
And here's a pin from Al Snow onto Jarrett.
With the head. Ref didn't see it. Timmy White, Andre's good friend.
Yeah, it was an interesting kind of booking of it where they got the guitar shot, missed the guitar shot, missed the head. Jeff Jarrett distracts the referee. Al Snow hits him. Who would be booking that match? It's just one match. Would it be a Patterson thing, or would it be another agent?
Yeah, I mean, Patterson, Pat, you had a great deal to do with it. Briscoe was an agent at that time. He had a lot to do with things.
Briscoe is a good time, isn't he?
He's the best, man. He is the absolute best, bro. He is the best.
I have it on very good authority that he is a good time in 2018. There was at one point at StarCast, our crew consisted of me, Shuley from Howard Stern, Shuley, Briscoe, and of course Blue Meanie. It was quite an interesting little group we had going there.
Yeah.
And that was a great match. And of course, you people watching on Twitch, we are putting this on our Patreon site, patreon.com/ Russo Coon TWC. But of course, listen to Truth with Consequences every Sunday, right, Vince?
Truth with Consequences every Sunday, Saturday night, midnight, guys. The show drops at 12 Eastern on midnight, bro. Check us out. And, bro, if you're a member of Patreon, you get the show like on Tuesday, and you get it unedited. In other words, Matt and I did about 3 hours yesterday on Vince Russo versus the Dirt Sheets. When that show comes out on Westwood One, it's going to be an hour and a half. So half of that show is going to be edited out. You're going to get it unedited. You're going to get it on Tuesday, like 4 or 5 days early. What else do they get, Matt? Because you set up the Patreon.
Oh, well, we've got at least you can get a bonus show. You can get 2 bonus shows a month if you're on our highest level. You get discounts on our awesome shirts. You were wearing the Russo's Club shirt the other day. You also get, if you're on the highest level, you get a video. Every episode is video. And we also have some cool little pins we're going to be giving our Super Bros in a little bit, as well as shout-outs from our Twitter, shout-outs on the show, follow from Twitter. We really try to hook you guys up, and we want you on Patreon because it's the way we survive. But if you want to watch this show and you're not a Patreon member, all you got to do is give us 500 more subscribers on YouTube. Go to youtube.com /RussoCoonTWC, or just go to RussoCoon.com.
Matt, can I point out again the nuances before we leave Twitch, because we just saw something very important.
We're looking at Steve Austin just beat the holy hell out of Big Boss Man.
Yeah. Matt, did you see the way Austin came to the ring?
I was busy plugging stuff very badly. I think I might have
Oh, my God. Matt, I was very critical of the way that Ronda Rousey came to the ring this week. Charlotte just killed her. Killed her, bro. She came down to the ring smiling, slapping hands and everything else. Austin just walked down to that ring like he was going to kill somebody, and he could not get in that ring quick enough. That's what I'm talking about, bro. Like, that's Austin. We're not writing that. Austin knows the situation. Austin knows that McMahon is stacking the deck against him. And out of the chute, Austin is coming to fight. Those are the nuances I think we're missing today, bro.
And just as we see him take on Big Boss Man, and just Boyd supported, emboldened by the unprecedented fan support and enthusiasm. It's just insane back then how over he was.
Yeah. All right, guys on Twitch, that is it. I'll be back tonight, bro. We're gonna give you a little of castrating the marks. I will be on there tonight, guys. Go check out Patreon for Truth with Consequences. You could see the whole 3 hours, bro. We're gonna do the whole show. Go check it out, bro. Just go to patreon.com/Russo Coon with a K TWC. I will see you guys later on. Somebody just said, Matt, you've got a soothing voice.
Well, thank you very much. I appreciate that. It's all I've got going for me, really.
They're just, it's so believable. It's so believable what the story is. This is getting the story over. Boss Man knows Vince McMahon gave him marching orders. This is what he's here to do. And Austin knows, bro, that the deck is stacked against him. And it's just the storytelling, man. It's unbelievable.
It's interesting to me as we see these guys just tear it up. Boss Man is amazing. And he's going to do his patented move right here, jumping on him on the ropes. But these are two guys who weren't seen as having it at one time. Boss Man was a developmental talent in WCW before Dusty picked him out. And, of course, Austin had a long career where he was a medium-ish heel before he discovered his Stone Cold persona. It's just amazing what you're saying, people tapping into the real them to find
well,
who they are.
I saw before my very eyes, I saw Steve Austin get himself over. We gave Steve Austin a 5-minute window, and in those 5 millions, Steve Austin made himself a millionaire. It's that simple, bro. Steve Austin got himself over with a very, very small opportunity.
And he made up those two lines, right? The two,
what?
Austin 3:16, and also right. That's the bottom line because Stone Cold said so.
Absolutely, 100%.
Creative guy, but not a guy who could create for other people, right?
No, but always thinking about his character, bro, 24/7. And, bro, think about that today, Matt. You know, I don't know about these guys thinking about their characters today or thinking about the match. Austin was thinking about his character 24/7. Rock was thinking about his character 24/7.
But also, let's be honest, like, Austin didn't want his match to be what he calls the shits. Like, he wanted to have a good match, quote unquote.
Oh,
right?
yeah, no, absolutely. Wanted to have a good match, but you know, like I said, I think he was always just thinking about that character nonstop. And he has heat, bro. You hear me talk about this a lot today, man. This is something I think is missing in wrestling. Heat.
It's always interesting to me in wrestling how you use weapons in a way that you never would in a real fight. You know, like a sledgehammer.
Yeah, right, exactly. Yeah.
You know, it's like, I have a sledgehammer. I'm going to poke you with it now.
Yeah, that every time you say, though, I immediately think of Sting with that bat.
Oh, my
God. And poking the guy in the gut. And I'm like, bro, take a full swing at his head.
You did not poke people with a baseball bat.
No,
you swung for the fences.
Yes, I did. With a very hard rubber bat.
Now, I got to tell you, I wasn't a big fan of the Boss Man's all-black attire here. Did you like it?
I liked it. Yeah, I mean, I do. I do like it. I like the look. I think he evolved his look a lot, and I thought it was a pretty cool look.
Now, you're not a big Kevin Owens fan, I know, but do you see any Kevin Owens and Boss Man similarities at all? Their mobility, their facials. I know Boss Man's a bigger guy, but do you see anybody else who's like Boss Man these days?
Well, that's a good question. Matt, I don't compare Kevin Owens to a Boss Man. I just don't. I mean, that's just me. If some people do, that's great, but I just don't.
So we're looking at
just classic stuff.
Michael Cole interviewing Vince McMahon, a very, very, very confident Vince McMahon backstage.
Well, you know what's amazing, Matt? Here's what's amazing too. The storytelling during a pay-per-view. This is no different than a Monday Night Raw, bro, where we don't all of a sudden shut the cameras off in the back. We're telling stories throughout this show.
It's actually weaved really well, and I think sometimes in your just pure volume of criticism, some things get lost, and I think that's a criticism that can be addressed and is so accurate that there's not the pay-per-views anymore where there's a thread going through the whole thing. And
no.
Even WCW would do that.
As well,
even before you got there.
Yeah, you'll see that tonight. I mean, you'll see exactly what we're talking about.
Now, X-Pac is coming out. I think X-Pac is great. I've liked him from day one. I've never seen him. He's like hot sauce. He never makes anything worse. He's just fantastic. What are you familiar with the term X-Pac heat?
Not really, no.
It's like that go away heat. People said towards the end of his run he had X-Pac heat, go away heat. You never heard that term?
I mean, I've heard of getting the wrong heat and but no, I never heard X-Pac. Why did they say that?
I think it was just towards the end of his runs, it just caught on. It was one of those things that caught on. I always thought it was unfair and untrue because, dude, so many of these matches. Look at any Attitude Era matches or WCW or really his whole career. They would get a bunch of guys who couldn't wrestle, and they'd need him in there. They would need him in there for everything.
Matt, I saw that literally, bro, 2 years ago. 2 years ago, I happened to be working with him in Germany, and there was some big cluster of a match, bro. They had so many people in this match, and there was the coach. And X-Pac was saying, you do this, and you do this, and I do this, and I sat back and I watched. And I was like, God, bro, I never saw that side of him before. He was incredible. Now, this is, I got to tell you about this, Matt.
Please, we're looking at the real man's man, the greatest gimmick
let's
of all
talk
time.
About this.
Go ahead.
Because
is this Pritchard?
Bruce says, I came up with this. Matt, can I tell you why I don't think I came up with this? Can I tell you why?
I would love to know. Go ahead.
I don't like it.
Yeah, and you,
like I'm not a fan
point,
of like that. That's why when Bruce says, "Oh, Russo came up with this angle," bro, I'm not a fan of this. So, like, if I'm not a fan of this, like, I don't think I came up with this. I think this was Vince, bro.
And I mean this with all due respect, Vince. And I know sometimes I can be disrespectful to some of your ideas, but no matter how shitty the idea I think you have is, you defend it to this day. Like, we watched April 10th Nitro for Patreon. And, I'm just like, isn't this crazy? And you literally love it. Like, not because it's yours.
You had Beaver Cleaver on Robbie E! Show.
Yeah.
I'm still a fan of Beaver Cleaver, okay? But I got to tell you, I never liked this gimmick. That's why I'm pretty certain it was not mine. I really think this was Vince's idea, bro, the man's man gimmick. So, this is where I wish I had Ed. Because Ed would be able to tell you. I can't remember specifically.
Watching X-Pac and Steve Regal, William Regal in the ring, wrestling, X-Pac looks fantastic. Where was Regal at this point? Was he still?
Oh, bro. Yeah, go ahead, man. He's still what? Go ahead.
Suffering from his addictions right now.
Yeah, man, and it was, and what a shame, bro. Just what a freaking shame, and we never really got to do anything with him because of it, And thank God. I mean, I say what a shame now, but obviously,
Comeback City.
Comeback City. Thank God, but back then it sucked.
Both of these guys are better off today. Almost better off for going through what they went through.
Yes,
like,
I agree with that.
They're and you want to talk about great comebacks, Road Dogg, Regal, X-Pac. We hear so much about the casualties, but you hear guys like Regal, who is just, he's Mr. Professional guy, and X-Pac is always a force of positivity. Road Dogg, I follow him just because he says nice things on Twitter every day.
Yeah, we used to follow each other, but he stopped following me because I think of my criticism towards the WWE, which I wish he wouldn't have let that get in the way of our friendship. I mean, he's got a job to do. I've got a job to do. I know basically at the end of the day, he's got to answer to other people. I know that. he's got to know at the end of the day, I got to answer to my fans. And, we used to go back and forth quite a bit on Twitter. He stopped following me, and I think that's unfortunate, bro.
Well, if you're going back and forth on Twitter, someone else sees it. Someone says, "Dude, stop going back and forth with Vince." I mean, that's pretty much what it is.
Yeah.
When we, I mean, this is fantastic. Regal and X-Pac, two of the all-time greats, two of guys who are still around having an impact on the industry. Two guys, could put together a good match. Bruce Pritchard does say that you became kind of aware that he was doing better when you heard of or saw his match he had with Chris Benoit at the Brian Pillman Memorial Show. Are you aware of that match he had?
No, I'm not.
Yeah, well, it was a match that got a lot of attention at the time.
Yep.
And it should have.
Yeah. I tell you though, really JR, I don't know how much Bruce had to do with it. I don't know. I know JR had a lot to do with bringing him in. And I have to think, Matt, part of that was because JR knew he was having issues. And JR was probably trying to help him as a friend. I mean, I would have to think that because I remember JR was very, very instrumental in bringing him in.
Do you know of or have you seen the infamous William Regal Goldberg match from WCW?
I don't believe I have.
Do you know of it?
No, I don't think so.
So Goldberg's in a streak and he's rolling over people like 20 or 30. He has a match with Regal, and Regal wrestles him for quite a bit and pretty much embarrasses him before Goldberg got his moves in. It's worth watching because it's a 1/4 shoot, and there's just things Goldberg can't do anything. If he does a wrist lock to him and takes him over, like Goldberg dressed as an MMA fighter, he can't do a thing with it.
I believe it.
It's a piece of work when you watch it.
Yeah, I gotta watch that.
Yeah, and it's something.
Now, Matt, is he still on NXT, Regal?
I think I've seen him recently. Yeah, he was very involved in the Johnny Gargano recent angle, who I know is one of your favorites as well. And I don't know what his backstage. I can't imagine they're not listening to him. I believe he's involved in training, but he's also the on-camera authority figure.
Yeah, he's been doing that for a while, right?
Yeah, and he's good at it too.
Yeah.
Did you see any indications? Did you worked with Albert, right? With Matt Bloom?
Yes.
Did you see any indications that guy would turn out the way he did? Like the head trainer over there?
Well, I mean, I always knew the guy was very intelligent. Very, very, he was always very smart, very intelligent. Bro, I got to tell you, an interview I saw yesterday, Matt, and I never had a conversation long enough with this person to realize how smart he was. Bro, I just saw an interview with Big Show on Busted Open Radio. Sure. What a freaking intelligent interview, and the things that he had to say and how he said them. I was blown away. I encourage everybody, go watch that interview. Bubba's show on Sirius, Busted Open Radio. Heck of an interview with Big Show, bro.
Now with Big Show, you had the same, and we'll probably do a Big Show episode, but you had the same experiences that people said, that he was full of himself, out of shape, not as good as he thought, that kind of thing?
Matt, we left right after he came in.
The only thing about Big Show I'll say negatively is I think he's a little too hard on himself. I think he takes the criticism on the chin, so when he talks back about how terrible he was, I didn't notice how terrible he was.
Yeah. I could tell you, man, he comes off of this interview very intelligent, very well-spoken, very logical. And, bro, let me tell you something. He says things in that interview, Matt, and as an employee, or not an employee, as a contractor of the WWE, your eyes are going to be wide open, and you're going to say, I can't believe he said that.
Wow.
Yes.
So make sure to check out that Busted Open Radio. Do you know anybody who are secret wrestling fans that you run into day to day that would not admit they're wrestling fans, but they're secret wrestling fans? You know those people?
Yeah, no, I definitely do know those people.
So I had a parent of a kid once tell me, he's like, I saw your name recently. Did you make a Bobby Heenan tribute thing? And I go, oh, I did. He goes, oh, yeah, a friend of mine shared it. And then he goes, the other day, I heard your name on Busted Open Radio. And I'm like, man, you're a secret wrestling fan, aren't you? And he goes, yeah. Don't tell anybody about it. I'm like, because who listens to Bust Open Radio but, like, wrestling fans? This match is going on for a long time, man.
Yeah, well, you got two great workers in there, bro.
Now, who's in charge of time cues? Is that Pritchard?
I would assume it's Pritchard talking directly to Timmy White. Yeah, Bruce was always Bruce owned Gorilla. Bruce ran Gorilla, the best.
Dude's been doing that shit since he was like 12.
Oh my God, yeah. I mean, come on, bro.
So you're not gonna. I mean, you're not gonna like this. So, it turns. Keller gives this match a three-quarter star.
3/4 out of 5?
Out of 5.
Oh, why?
Let's see what he says. He doesn't. I think it's because of the finish.
Yeah, I get. Yep, yep. Because didn't the one before finish this way?
Yeah. So this is something I've never really subscribed to. Right, that you have to have clean finishes. I've never personally, as a fan and as a someone who a lot of people call a mark. I don't really care about the clean finishes that much. How important to you is a clean finish?
It's not important at all. But like I can't tell you, bro, like why there wasn't a clean finish here, because I would have to know like where both guys were at. The
idea was to give them a double count or double count out, so they both get disqualified. So Austin gets the bye or the appearance of a bye.
Yeah, okay, that's probably it. Yeah, and that's part of the story. That's exactly part of the story.
Now, this kind of becomes a mess, Keller says. Slaughter ordered the ref to ring the bell. Regal stood in the ring, but rather than win the overtime period by countout, he chased after X-Pac, leading to another double countout, though nothing was made clear. A total mess. This might have been Regal missing his cue, because it looks like Slaughter came out to restart the match, and Regal was supposed to stay in the ring, but he didn't for the 10 count. You can see the look on Patterson's face. McMahon's pulling it off, but Patterson's like, Vince, that's a banana. Do you still have good relationships with Briscoe or Patterson?
Well, I'll tell you a couple of things, man. I don't even know if I should talk about this, because I was concerned about this. First of all, the last time I saw Mr. Briscoe was probably about maybe 3 years ago at a convention. Okay, Briscoe literally took me to the side, away from everybody, and he said to me, he goes, Vince, I don't care what they say about you. He goes, I don't care what they're trying to do to you. I want you to know that I know what you did, and I appreciate everything you did, not only for me and for the company. Bro, it almost brought a tear to my eye. That's Jerry Briscoe. That's somebody that the respect I have for people like that, you know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely.
Bro, on the other side of the coin, this concerned me a little. The Jericho cruise?
Absolutely, yes.
Pat Patterson was on the Jericho cruise.
Was he?
Mike Durbin tried to interview Pat Patterson.
Sure.
Mike Durbin says, you have any comments about Vince Russo? And Pat didn't know who Mike was talking about. And I guess Pat was there with somebody. And the person there with Pat said, oh, don't you remember, he used to work for WWE and then he went to WCW. And Pat turned around and said something to the effect of, was he the one who went down south? And the way Mike was explaining this to me, I was like, oh, bro, I hope he doesn't have Alzheimer's or CTE. That's the first thing I think about. But Mike was like, Vince, it was really, really weird. I haven't seen Pat in a very long time, so I couldn't tell you. But God, I hope that's not the case.
Well, I'll tell you. I've seen Pat. I've interacted with Pat, and I've seen him at live shows for our friend Bruce. And he also did the roast of Bruce Pritchard, which it's a couple jokes I told you off air that are just hilarious, most about Jeff Jarrett. But he seemed fine. So he might have been ribbing, or he might have been
maybe. I'm glad to hear that, because the way it was explained to me, I was worried about him.
He sang the shit out of Wonderful World. You know, have you?
Oh, really? Yeah, yeah,
Dude,
yeah.
like it's so great too because he just, yeah, man. I as a musician, I get caught up in playing things right or doing things right. I get inspired by seeing people lost in the moment. And I've seen Pat Patterson sing "My Way," and I've seen him. You probably have too, and seen him sing "Wonderful World." And he's lost in the moment, and he does little phrases and turns and tricks and stuff. He's great. He's great.
Well, I am glad to hear that because the way Mike explained it, I was like, "Oh shit, bro! Like, I hope he's okay."
Hey, Vince.
Bro,
oh, go ahead.
One thing I want to say about Goldust, because, bro, I said this about Charlotte the other day, okay? Bro, I don't think people understand this. The wrestlers, bro, they pay for their own wardrobe. When you look at what Charlotte wears, her father taught her, if you want to be a star, you've got to look like a star. Charlotte's outfits are not cheap. That shit is coming out of her pocket. And it's always something different. And when she comes down and she walks down the ramp, you know this is somebody. Dustin was the same way. That robe and the presentation and the way he would come out, he invested his own money in his character. A lot of guys don't do that today, bro.
As a writer, as a creative person, when you see someone investing in themselves like that, does it motivate you more?
Oh, absolutely,
dude.
That's what I love about Charlotte, bro. I mean, she separated herself from the rest of the pack. The minute she comes out with those robes and the stance, that's somebody special. That's them investing in themselves.
Man, look at Dustin hit the ropes. Like, you know, that's something about Austin. When you watch Austin in the ring, it tells you about his intensity, the way he hits the ropes. And we're watching Goldust versus Ken Shamrock. Ken Shamrock barely in the business a year or two, and man, he just fits in there, man. What a missed
I never saw anybody pick it up as quickly as he did, Matt. I swear to God. Ronda Rousey's done a great job. She really does. Bro, I feel where Ronda Rousey is making mistakes, I feel that's coming from Vince. I feel that's the way she's being directed. I don't think it's coming from her. But, Shamrock picked this up so quickly, bro. It was unbelievable.
So Ronda Rousey in real life, and I may have told you the story about me almost accidentally killing her, running into her with my fat ass while we were both trying to get through the metal detector. She's beautiful. Like, I'm talking striking, stunning. Next to the diva, she's beautiful. Whoever's in charge of making her look like Zool from Ghostbusters 2, you know, she's a natural beauty. Like,
I've said that before on our show, Matt. I've said the same thing before on our show. I said, why are they purposely trying to make her look unattractive? Why? I don't get it.
Yeah, it's like
maybe Stephanie can be the only attractive one. I mean, I don't know what the rule is, but you're right, bro. She is a natural beauty. I agree.
I'm talking when you see her next to Mandy Rose, you see her next to Carmella, you see her next to Charlotte, Becky, she's still striking. And the fact that
I agree.
It's terrible what they do to her. Now, Dustin here, where was he at this point in his career, Goldust? As personally?
I don't remember, man. I'd have to go back and watch. I really don't remember. Obviously, he's still doing the Goldust gimmick, but I would probably think at this point maybe they were starting to get the heat from some of the sponsors.
When I look at Goldust now, and at this time, you know, he's a bit heavier, and I think, you know, now he hasn't been wrestling for a little bit, but you know, when he came back just 4 or 5 years ago, and he was slimmed down. I mean, that was the best work he ever did in the ring. I think it was fantastic.
Yep.
And at this point, no Terry, huh? Terry is not part of this.
Yeah, situation. Who knows? I mean, I know they got divorced somewhere in there, and I can't remember the timeline.
Now, at the same time, there's a couple things going on. The next night on Raw, this show was so hot. The overrun of Raw did a 7.2. What do you think the overrun of WCW did? You guys got to see how seriously Vince is taking it.
3.5.
It's 2.7. It was a palindrome, 7.2 to 2.7, and that was because they had a rematch from tonight, which is at the time a rare main event giveaway, but they were going up against of course.
You know what Disco Inferno's favorite story is when he was working at WCW, bro? This is Disco's favorite story. During the Monday Night Wars, I think it's when we took over the lead. They booked Savage and Hogan in the main event. Okay? And Disco will tell you the story that everybody backstage, we got him tonight. Tonight's the night. Hogan, Savage. There's no way they're going to top us. Yada, yada, yada. Everybody was sky high. So then Disco, goes on to tell the story that, WWE crushed WCW in the ratings that night. Matt, guess what the main event was head-to-head with Savage and Hogan?
I don't know.
The main event, the Mean Street Posse versus Patterson and Briscoe.
Oh, God. And what does that say? I mean, that says a lot.
Glenn loves telling that story because he was like, bro, because he thinks it was hysterical. He goes, bro, Patterson and Briscoe and the Mean Street Posse blew away Hogan and Savage.
Now, Shamrock he jumped off the top rope and did a Hurricane Rana, and he did his patented belly to belly. He looks like he's about to go for his ankle lock, and he was so credible in so many ways.
Oh, yeah. Did I tell you the Big Show story, Matt? I think I told you, right?
About him, the interview he did?
No. It was Shamrock in the Big Show.
No. And Shamrock wins. Go ahead.
I got to tell you, Matt, I remember seeing this with my own eyes. But, Matt, you know how, like, the years go on, and it's kind of like, did that really happen? Or, like, did I build that up in my mind after all these years?
Like, did you cigar aficionado it?
Yes, thank you. So, bro, I got to interview Shamrock a year ago, and I said, Kenny, did this really happen? Like, or have I kind of built this up? And he goes, oh, you're talking about the night, blah, blah, blah. And, bro, it happened verbatim the way I believed it. Okay?
So what happened?
Shamrock had just come into the WWE. See this? We're continuing this story. Look how young Michael Cole looks. Crazy.
Michael Cole. And I mean, there's a lot to be said for being able to work in that environment as long as he has.
No doubt.
He must know how to get along with people.
Kevin Dunn too, bro. So listen, Big Show, Shamrock had just come in, bro. We're in catering. There's a line in catering. Okay? Freaking Big Show is kind of screwing with Ken Shamrock. Right. Okay? Shamrock standing there, bro, calm, cool, and collected, and he finally shows, ribbing him, and Shamrock says his comment, and I'm talking about catering's full with everybody. And Shamrock says, he goes, if you don't leave me alone, bro, I am going to take you down to the floor in 3 seconds, and you're going to be crying like a bitch. Just like that, bro. Freaking Show laughed at him, did something again. Bro, Shamrock had Big Show on the floor in catering in 3 seconds, screaming for his life. And I said, Ken, did I imagine that? He goes, oh, no, bro, we were in such and such a town. And I mean, and bro, I'll never forget that as long as I live. That, like this, bro, he took down a man that size.
That's, it just goes to show the level of, and people are caught up now. A lot of the guys who do wrestling, do the MMA fighting. It's pretty insane because the stories about Show's strength and size are pretty legendary.
Yes. Bro, this may have been my all-time favorite entrance theme, and the DX entrance that I told you Shane had a lot to do with.
Yeah, and of course we see the world famous
look at
Patterson and Briscoe coming out to DX music with cross chops.
That's tremendous.
In the ring is The Rock. Now the fans,
Bro, you had to see. You know what that reminds me of, Matt? I'll never forget. It's the little things you don't remember. I remember when Sean Waltman came over from WCW and he wanted to use X-Pac. You had to see the conversation of Sean Waltman trying to explain to Pat Patterson what X-Pac meant. Because, bro, he refused to call him X-Pac. He always called him X-Pac. And he had no clue with Tupac. I mean, bro, freaking hysterical. Look at Briscoe.
It's amazing to me that when I first started watching wrestling, I was watching WWE, and it was just when I guess WWF had bought Georgia, and the Briscoe brothers were like this hot babyface tag team, and to see Briscoe here and then to see him at StarCast.
Bro, do you know amazing. That was my favorite tagline in all of wrestling? I don't know who came up with this, bro. I don't know if Briscoe came up with this. I don't know. I swear to God, bro, I would rather have come up with this catchphrase than any other one in the history of the business. You ready?
Which one's that?
The Briscoe Brothers Body Shop. It's worth the drive. If I could claim anything, bro, I wish that was mine. Oh, I don't know who came up with that. I still don't know.
So we're looking at The Rock right now. The fans have turned this very cool character to face, to be a good guy. And Patterson and Briscoe are posturing as if, they're against him. Was there any concern about turning him heel at this point in his popularity?
Nah, there was no concern. I mean, there really wasn't. Like I said, bro, we were building this story for months and months and months. But Matt, this is one thing that I want to point out, about like my job with these guys, bro, down to Patterson and Briscoe. When Ed Ferrara and myself sat down and we wrote these shows. That's it. Wow. What did Kelly give that match?
It's probably another dud. Boss Man runs in the ring to represent the bad guys yet again.
But it's just unbelievable, the story that we're telling. He can't get into a fight with the Boss Man. You see what I'm saying?
No, he can't get into a fight, and Boss Man's going to take a dive anyway because The Rock the fix is in.
That's it. The fix is in. That's the beauty of this. But what I was about to say to you, Matt, is here was the beauty of working with this roster. When Ed and I would write these shows, bro, we knew what we were going to get out of every person. You know what I mean? I mean, right. that promo that Patterson and Briscoe cut, we knew we were going to get that. You know what I'm saying?
Is that something you would have written, the Patterson and Briscoe promo?
We would have written kind of bullet points of what they needed to get over.
And you're someone who thinks that the talent now should get bullet points as opposed to a script to memorize.
Oh, of course, bro. It's terrible. Nobody sounds like a human being, bro. Nobody sounds like a human being. I mean, Dean Ambrose going out there the other night telling the crowd they smelled. I mean, come on, bro. Come on. And that's not Dean Ambrose. That's not on Dean Ambrose. Don't write the show. They're telling them to say that.
It's amazing to me because I know they have to memorize this stuff, right? So Rhonda did a promo, and I was just like, man, she did a good job of memorizing that,
I was wondering, I know exactly what you're talking about, and I'm like, did they have a teleprompter for her, bro?
Right,
They might have had one.
Yeah, or she's got, there's stories of Randy Orton walking around backstage just muttering his promos over and over to himself, who
was like that, bro, used to drive me freaking crazy.
Who's that?
Christian, man. Oh, bro, when you needed Christian on set, bro, it would take you an hour to get him there because he's going over the promo and the mannerisms. And I love the guy to death, bro, but I used to get so frustrated with him. Sometimes you just got to freaking wing it, bro.
And Christian is a guy who really benefited from that change of scenery to TNA,
Great. And I don't think he puts me over much, but we did a lot with him at TNA, bro.
Yeah, and he stepped up to the challenge.
Matt, I'm going to tell you a great story here that you're going to love. All right, first of all, this guy right here.
We're watching Undertaker Paul Bearer come out to face Kane in the quarterfinal of.
I'm talking about Paul Bearer.
Paul Bearer.
Oh my God, bro! I'm tearing up already over here. Matt, can I tell you something you're going to appreciate? This this is the worst I was ever hurt by the words of anybody I work with. Okay? You have to know how much I respected Paul Bearer. And we had a great relationship, bro. You used to call me Vinny Roo all the time. We worked together great, bro. I would give him, okay, Paul, this is what we got to do. He would freaking come up with the verbiage, and I would just freaking watch in the back and cry sometimes. It was so magnificent. But, Matt, I'll never forget, bro. One night on a Monday Night Raw, I booked the entire Whack Pack. Okay, bro? I am standing at the gorilla position next to William Moody. Okay, Matt? Here comes Hank the Angry Dwarf. Here comes Beetlejuice. Here comes Crackhead Bob.
Awesome.
Here comes Elephant Boy. Here comes High Pitch Eric. And, bro, they're all parading because they had to go out to the ring, right? I'm standing there with Paul Bearer, and he's watching this parade of misfit toys with me, like not saying a word. Okay? Bro, they all walk past him. He turns to me as serious as a heart attack, Matt. This wasn't a rib. This wasn't him kidding. He turned to me and he said, Vinny Roo, you just killed the wrestling business. Oh. And I had to say, Paul, you have no idea how over these guys are to a certain – bro, you got no – Stern was probably at its height then, Matt. And I knew if we could get these guys on the show and get some of that audience – but he didn't know. Like, he didn't know who Stern was. He didn't know. But, bro, I got to tell you, when a guy like that said something to me like that, it ripped my heart out of my chest, bro.
I mean, it's not really fair either because – I mean, the cavalcade of characters he managed over the years, he just, maybe it was the idea of not using wrestlers or, I'm sure he's seen some crazy, I bet he's seen wrestling bears before, you know what I'm saying? That doesn't
yeah.
Did you ever in your, okay,
man, it's I just want to say this, but I want to hear what you have to say. But I'm standing here watching Undertaker in his prime. You know what I mean? You freaking forget how freaking awesome this man was in his prime. But go ahead, Matt.
Well, he was a physical marvel. He was a guy who was, I was describing him to my son once. I was like, "You've never seen the clothesline where he does the flip while he does the clothesline?" And I was like, he did a flip with his clothesline. I'm like, dude, yeah. I mean, this guy was a guy, and the standing up and not selling out of the ring, crucial to his character. When he got knocked out by Kane. Did you watch, back to Bill Moody, of course, Paul Bearer, when you were a young wrestling fan or when you were at WWE, did you ever watch the World Class Wrestling at all?
Very little I saw when he was blonde-headed, right?
He was, and so I was
very little.
I was a super fan as a kid, read the magazines, and I lived in California, so I could watch everything. And so when Paul Bearer came out, I was like, is that Percy Pringle? Is that who that is? And
yeah,
and sometimes when you see someone in a new character on TV, movies, wrestling, you can't accept them. But it didn't take long for me to realize that's not Percy Pringle anymore. That is Paul Bearer.
Bro, he cut some of the most memorable promos, bro. Some of them when Kane was his son and like all that stuff. Oh my God, he cut some of the most memorable promos, bro.
When he, as Paul Bearer, as his promo, there would be a moment in his promo where he would have fire in his eyes, where he dropped the cartoon for a second, and where you believed. And that was an amazing thing.
Yes.
So a lot of people think Undertaker's the best gimmick of all time. I have a counter to that. Kane is but one of the top 5 gimmicks of all time, considering what happened with his dentistry history.
Yeah, and I give again, bro, I've always done this all the time. I give this act that you're seeing right here, a lot of this had to do with Bruce. Bruce was, very, very close with Mark. They were good friends, Bruce was very close with Percy. Bruce laid out the Kane character to me. I mean, we would write the Kane character after that week for week for week. But, I mean, Bruce was the one who originally laid out, Taker's got a brother, his name is Kane, yada. I remember vividly at Vince's house. So a lot of this act right here, a lot of this had Bruce's name on it.
You know, and Bruce is very proud and takes a lot of pride on the Kane thing. He has a child named Kane. Mm-hmm. He has one of Kane's original masks as one of his pieces of memorabilia that he has. You know, when you see him on video, he's very proud of the Kane thing. And, you know, Glenn Jacobs over the years has shown to be a guy who is down for anything. Whatever you give him, he will give 100%.
Yep. I never heard Glenn Jacobs raise his voice, bro. I never heard him I never saw him get mad. I think the two people in the business I never saw get mad were Glenn Jacobs and Glenn Gilbernetti. I never saw those guys get mad over anything.
You know, Glenn Jacobs is the nicest guy, you know. And just if you ever run into a wrestler, you want to have a conversation or interested with them, talking about wrestling usually isn't the way to go. You know, I started talking about to Kane, Glenn Jacobs, when we were able to talk to each other once about his mayoral campaign, and that dude came alive. Like, it was amazing.
God, you know who was just like that, bro, when it came to freaking politics? And I couldn't hold a conversation with him, bro. Like, Sean Morley.
Oh, really?
You talk to Sean Morley about politics, bro, like,
big libertarian.
Forget it.
Yeah, big libertarian.
Yeah, you forget it, bro. The passion and that's why I came up with the Val Venus gimmick, bro, because his character should have been some kind of political figure. I was not capable of writing for that. I wasn't.
So I'm going to put over my son, as I always do. He's 16. Our first wrestling event, WWE big event, was WrestleMania 30. We went to a Access, and they had a wrestler impersonation contest, and they had a kids one, and Matthew got in the ring, and they had 6 kids in there. Who are you going to be? The Undertaker or someone who's out there now? And Matthew says Val Venus. This is 6 years ago, and they go, Val Venus? We're gonna have his music. And so Matthew, at 10 years old, does the whole thing. He goes, hello, ladies. He does the whole thing. God. He wins the contest. He won the contest doing Val Venus in the NXT ring. It's one of his favorite
memories. Did you ever
memories.
hear the story? Have you ever heard the Val Venus, Jenna Jameson stories? Have you heard these?
No, but who is this Jenna Jameson of which you speak, Vince?
Matt, listen to this, bro. Listen to this. And this is when, we had the Val Venus character, and bro, we got Jenna Jameson to do vignettes with Val Venus.
Yes.
We did the vignettes at Bruce's house. Okay, bro? Me and Bruce did them together. Bro, we had Jenna Jameson in Bruce's hot tub with Val naked. Okay, bro?
That's amazing.
We shot an entire day at Bruce's house with Jenna Jameson. And, bro, this is really before she was Jenna Jameson. She was Jenna Jameson, like, just first starting. Okay, right. Bro? And the reason why I say that, Matt, is because she was very easy to work with. She did whatever we wanted her to do, right?
Well, that's what she does.
Yes. Well, bro, would you believe, Matt, me and Bruce bring the footage back. When you shoot all this footage, then you got to show Vince, right? So me and Bruce bring the footage back to Vince. Bro, he left 90% of the Jenna Jameson footage on the cutting room floor because Vince thought she was ugly.
Really? That's interesting.
Yes. I hope Bruce remembers that. I think he would, because Bruce and I were like, what? Yeah, bro. He did not think she was. I guess he didn't think she was attractive enough for the Val character. I guess that's what he thought. But he cut out 90% of the footage.
Wow. And, segue tombstone from Undertaker to Kane. Paul Bearer helps hold down the leg of Kane. Undertaker wins. And yeah, that's weird because if you think of the women that Vince McMahon has pushed over the years, they're not that dissimilar from Jenna Jameson.
I'm telling you, bro, me and Bruce were like, we couldn't, like, you can't argue with the guy. It's his show. But, man, we couldn't believe it.
You know, we're looking at Kane here, and I don't think enough is made, not just how great Kane is, but he was the perfect size, weight, and athleticism to work with The Undertaker, to give him the matches. Oh,
yeah, absolutely, bro. Absolutely.
There really was no other talent, a physical talent, that size, that strength, just big enough where Undertaker could still tombstone him. You know, he literally is the perfect opponent. And was that his real hair back then? Did he have real long hair at any point?
Yeah, no, I think it was, bro. I think it was. I do believe it was. I could be wrong, bro, but I do think it was, you know?
And here comes...
We were so lucky, Matt. I got to tell you, bro. You talk about the stars aligning. I mean, give me a break. But see, that's what people don't understand, bro. Do you know how difficult it was to write for stars like this? You couldn't allow them to fall down, bro. You had to keep going up and up and up and up, and that was the challenge. Our writing had to be up to par with their talent.
Sure.
That's what people don't understand. Bro, I couldn't give Austin shit. I couldn't write shit for Austin. You know, because he'd look at this and say, come on, Vince, like, you really want me to do this? That's what people don't get, bro. That's what made it so freaking challenging.
And I mean, when you look at the talent and you look at the characters and you look at what you wrote for him and looked what WWE did for him, hey, it was just a couple years before WCW had Undertaker, had Mick Foley, had Steve Austin.
Yep.
And what's the difference? A lot of it was, you know, them finding themselves, but most of it, I'd say, was the creative in some way.
Yeah, I mean that was the challenge. I was not going to let these guys down, bro. That was my mentality. Matt, do you remember a couple weeks ago? I swear to God, they watch my show because bro, when I say shit with Stevie and Ben Hameen, the next week they do it. I swear to you, they do. I don't know if Dewey Foley's watching our show. Somebody is. But, Matt, I was watching the other day. Do you remember a couple weeks ago when Ambrose was burning the fire in the parking lot?
Yeah, we actually talked about that on our YouTube video, too.
Yeah, okay. But you know what I was thinking of? Here's what I was thinking. I was thinking of if Austin was in the Rollins role and I had written that exact promo.
Right.
Steve would have said to me, okay, Vince, like, then what happens? And if I would have said, well, Steve, that's the end of the segment, you know what I mean? He would have looked at me like, what do you mean, like, that's the end? Like, what do you mean? Like, I'm not doing anything? I'm not looking for him? I mean, you could not give that kind of stuff to these guys, man.
And so your point being that, you know, the creative was spurred on by the talent, and the talent was spurred on by the creative.
Absolutely, bro. They were so over. You couldn't let them down, bro. You know, they're waiting for you to give them the creative, and that creative has to be up to par of their performance, man. That was the thing, bro. I was not going to let anybody on that roster down, bro.
Now we're watching Al Snow versus Mick Foley, and it's already ended disqualification. And this is before everybody knew how close they were as friends, before Mick Foley's book came out. And, Al Snow just took a easy DQ by just getting a chair and hitting Foley with it. Foley gets his heat back by...
And that's another thing, Matt, too. Like, again, it's like, my God, there were so many things I wish I could take credit for that I think was brilliant. Bro, you know the whole scene of... McMahon in the hospital and Austin with the bedpan and Sacco and all this and that.
Oh, yeah.
We wrote that. Of course, we wrote that. I was not there for that. And I remember, bro, Mick coming back from the shoot and telling me about Mr. Sacco. And I remember popping huge, like, holy shit, like, Mick, that is absolutely brilliant. And then I remember seeing it and, like, I was like, you know, God, there was so many things, bro, that were freaking brilliant that I had nothing to do with.
And even Mick Foley will tell you Mr. Sacco's all well and good in that particular skit. As we watch Foley beat up Al Snow and take a sock off of Head's head, But it really was, in that segment, man, Mr. McMahon, that closing moment, Mr. Sacco. It's beautiful. I mean, just the fact, the presence of mind. It's a one shot, right? There's no edits,
yes,
right? The presence of mind.
Bro. Oh my God,
and
brilliant!
The next week, what signs do we have? And
the next Matt, I remember vividly. The next day, I look out the curtain before the show starts. Everybody's got a sock on their hand. I ran to Mick and I'm like, bro, you're not going to believe this. You are not going to believe. The very next day, bro.
The only wrestling memorabilia I really own. Have I ever told you what it is?
No.
So, were you watching Raw? I mean, you watch Raw every week, but do you remember when Foley was the commissioner on Raw just a couple years ago, and he was dealing with Owens and Jericho and all that? Do you remember that at all?
Yes.
There was one episode where Mick Foley comes out wearing the world's ugliest Christmas sweater, and that was the whole gimmick. It was the ugliest Christmas sweater, and I own that sweater. I own that Christmas sweater. And it's one of my proudest things.
Wait, that one that he wore?
Yes, I got it.
How did that come about?
Because Foley's the greatest guy in the world, and he put all his stuff up for an auction for victims of sexual abuse, RAIN. So I bid on it, and it was much lower than I thought, and it's hanging up right now.
Oh, that's awesome!
Isn't that great?
And you know how huge Christmas is to him, right?
Yeah. It's and speaking of which, if you want to support Mick Foley, I know right now. This weekend, Black Friday weekend, he sells personalized Mr. Saccos.
Yeah, I saw that.
He always does it. True good guy. We got his autograph and met him and just a couple years ago. And I said I own that sweater. He probably was like weird, but still, he's one of these guys that always has time for you.
Oh yeah, man. He's never bro. I met Mick in 1991, bro. He had just gotten the WCW gig. He was feuding with Van Hammer. It was like the first thing he ever did on the big stage, and I met him back then, bro. He's not changed at all. Like from 91, bro. I mean, not at all, bro.
I tell you, if I don't have time in my life for anything. But if I could make time of my life for one more podcast, Mick Foley's at the very top of my list. I bet that guy's got a great podcast in him.
Yep. Oh, yeah.
So we're looking at the final brackets. The winner of The Rock versus Shamrock will take on The Undertaker. Mankind versus the winner of Mankind and Stone Cold will face the winner of Rock, that person who faces under The Rock, I believe. I just lost it. But follow along. It's awesome. And at this point in time, the crowd doesn't know, but it appears the fix is in for our hapless bad guy, Mick Foley. And he was a bad guy in a way that still endeared him to the crowd, though, right?
Yeah. And that's all Mick, bro. It takes a special personality to get that over. Bro, there was certain things like you can't write for anybody. I mean, you know their range, bro. You know what they can get over. You know what you can't write for them. Like I'm looking at Goldust right now, bro. I knew I could write things out there and he'd get it over. Same with Mick Foley, bro. Everybody was a little different. You know what I used to find, Matt? Here's what I used to find.
What's that?
The pure wrestlers. Right, bro? I'm talking about like two that come to mind. Actually, three that come to mind immediately. But when you had a guy like Jeff Jarrett, when you had a guy like Bret Hart, when you had a guy like HBK, okay? But more Bret and Jeff, bro, I had to write every single word for them. Bro, I guarantee you, I think it is safe to say throughout Jeff Jarrett's career, I probably wrote 95% of every word he ever said. And Bret was the same way. I would have to script out, Bret Hart's entire promo. But you know why that was, bro? Because I figured it out over time. Those were the guys that were technicians in the ring and really wanted to concentrate on and zero in on the match. and they said, okay, I got a writer and Vince is the writer and I trust Vince, I'm just going to let Vince write my promos. But and I noticed the pattern, bro. Like when you were when your fame was really the in-ring work, it was really those guys that leaned on me a little bit more because they were always thinking about the match.
That Jeff Jarrett, Bret Hart connection, we don't hear a lot about, or you don't think a lot about, but think about how else they're connected. Their fathers ran territories, both of them.
Yep, absolutely, bro. Yep.
Rock and Shamrock going at it. Now, what the Rock lacked,
bro, I got to tell you something. And you talk about people not getting their due. The program that Rock had with Shamrock in the months leading up to him becoming the Rock, Shamrock never gets enough credit for helping Rock get to superstardom. You know who's Stone Cold Steve Austin's Shamrock?
The one who helped prepare him for greatness.
Yes. And overlooked, never even mentioned, bro.
Owen
Savio.
Oh, dude, Savio. I interviewed Savio. And,
Savio, bro.
Dude,
Savio.
Absolutely. That match, and I interviewed Savio about their In Your House, Lights Out,
I was there.
Match.
I was there, bro. Yep.
And when you watch that match, it's a textbook example of how to get a crowd into your match. It's an amazing piece of work. And Savio is he's an interesting fella, but he really underrated for sure.
Oh my God, bro! I don't know. I don't know if Austin or Rock would have reached those heights without Savio, like right before it. And in this case with Rock, it was Shamrock, bro. It was these freaking matches that put The Rock on the map.
There it is. And that was unusual at the time. The Rock grabs a water bottle in the middle of beating down. I just think that's hilarious,
Yeah, it's great. It's great stuff, man.
And
you can't write that stuff, bro. You can't write that stuff.
So the fix is in. We go with Mankind to Mankind is, looks like he's winning, but The Rock got a roll up. These little hints throughout the pay-per-view. Are you heavily involved in kind of pacing this angle out through the pay-per-view at all?
Oh, absolutely. Like I'm watching this right now, and I'm like, well, geez, how the hell are we getting through this? You know what I mean? Like, I'm like, how are we getting Rock past Shamrock? I don't remember what we did, bro. It's like I'm watching this for the first time.
Is this the first time you've watched it since it happened?
Yes. Yeah, I remember I watched the finish, bro. Like a couple of years ago, I watched like the last 10 minutes. I watched The Rock's turn, but I have not seen this. I don't know how this ends, bro. I don't have a clue.
It was really something for me to see. I talked about it earlier, and I wasn't bullshitting. Jeff Lane is a guy who I listen to with your shows, and he's a guy that I think of as like, this sucks, that sucks, let's make fun of this, that sucks. And I don't mean that demeaningly. I think he's entertaining and good at what he does, but it's not like he waxes poetic about what he enjoys a lot. But to hear him talk about this pay-per-view was something else.
Yeah, like I'm watching this, and I'm like, okay, as we're writing this and the story, we got to get Rock through this match. Like we can fudge this and we can fudge that, but it's kind of like now Rock's in there against Shamrock, and now we got to kind of rely on Rock's ability a little bit. I swear to God, I don't remember how this ends.
When I see a guy like Shamrock who has all the tools, right? And also didn't really have a lot of injury problems, and he didn't get where maybe he should have gone. I either think of a guy who's either doesn't get it or, is hard to deal with personally, or maybe just maybe for some reason Vince didn't like. What was the deal with Shamrock?
I don't think it was any of the three because I didn't know. Mag, you got to understand, like, I don't know what's going on the contractual end of things.
You alluded to that before.
I don't know.
You're pretty sure it was a contractual deal, though.
That's
right?
what it was, because I asked him. I asked Ken, like, what happened, bro? It was all contractual, bro. I knew nothing about it at the time.
It's probably one of these things where Ken Shamrock, even working in the underground of sort world, with UFC is used to dealing with agents and kind of a way of doing business, and then you enter the topsy-turvy cardy world of wrestling, and you're like, wait, what?
Matt,
I'm sorry,
you
what?
know what's amazing here? Even the instincts of Shamrock. I don't know if you would see this today, but if you saw, bro, Boss Man came down to the ring and then walked around it like he's doing now, bro, Shamrock's eyes are following Boss Man around the whole ring. You know what I'm saying, bro? He's never taking – look, right now he's never taking his eyes off. Bro, I don't know if guys today know how to do that, bro. That's the nuances, bro.
So I know you can be critical of WWF style, you know. I am critical of their style too, and I think it's not the style. I think it's that it's a style. You know, it's so homogenized because everybody has to walk around and look at the camera the same way. Everybody has to stop at the top of the ramp the same way, do the pose when they walk to the ring the same way. These guys are kicking ass, by the way. They're just fucking on fire.
Unbelievable, bro. That last thing Shamrock did was unreal.
As opposed to learning how to get over in different territories where you can tell a Watts guy from a Von Erich guy, from a Crockett guy. Do you think that homogenization of
it's the system, Matt. It's the system. Triple H has already said there's going to be no more John Cena's. They're going through the factory, bro. They're going through NXT. They're going through the factory. They're creating wrestlers, and they're purposely not creating stars, bro. They're doing that purposely because they want to sell the brand. They don't want a personality to be bigger than the brand. So they're doing it by design.
My friend,
God, this stuff looks so crisp and real, doesn't it?
It really does. I mean, and they're gigantic men just killing each other. My friend Bruce Mitchell, a while ago, kind of coined the term the mid-card era, referring to what you're talking about, where the company is the headliner. Yes, and nobody is. It's all about the mid card era. So when you look, and
they've said that they've said that. I mean, they've made that clear, bro. They've said it,
and it's counterproductive, right? It's counterproductive.
Matt,
yeah, go ahead.
At the end of the day, I'm sorry to interrupt you, man. I'm really sorry.
No, go ahead. But
Matt, at the end of the day, Raw is a television show. Okay, Matt. What do they have on every other television show you watch? What are on television shows? Stars.
Right.
There's a star on the show, bro. Roseanne is the star. The Friends are the stars. Seinfeld is the star. They're stars on television. You've got to have stars in the WWE so people will pay money to go see them. If you don't create stars, who am I going to go see?
And speaking of stars, The Rock is over like Grover, and I think the heel turn he's about to do the People's Elbow. The heel turn he's about to do tonight, I think, is really the example people point to when they say they wish Cena had turned heel or they wish Roman Reigns had turned heel because of what turning heel did for The Rock. But I think it's a simplification because it's how you do it. You can't just turn heel. You got to be able to do it.
It's how you do it, bro. It's how you do it, man. Look at these people, though, huh, bro? Look at that. That's what I miss.
On their feet.
That's what I miss, bro. I miss the people so freaking into it, man.
You know when I saw it during the last two matches of Survivor Series this year. I know you're not maybe the biggest Daniel Bryan fan, but what did you think about that match they had? And
I was just Matt, I'll be honest with you, I couldn't enjoy the match because I was just I was scared to death for him, bro. Like I really was. I hate to be that way, but I could not, because I'm watching every throw and I'm like, God, like I could not enjoy it because of that.
And The Rock wins using the nightstick. It's the second or third time we've seen the same finish where we've seen the outside interference backfire on the person that intended to do it. But Vince, honestly, I don't know anybody who sees Daniel Bryan wrestle who doesn't wince a little bit. My son is a huge Daniel Bryan. Daniel Bryan is his Hulk Hogan if you look at how young my son is, right? And he also told me once when I started working with Dutch Mantel, he goes, "You don't understand, Dad. Dutch Mantel is my Bobby Heenan. It's a different generation, And we all wince when we see Bryan do that, but I think Brock was fantastic, and I think whoever put that match together put together the only believable type match you could have with Bryan and Brock.
That first throw, though, bro,
that was
the first one.
Brutal.
Yeah, the first one, bro. Oh. Bro, you got to hear what Big Show says in this busted open interview, Matt. Bro, you know the CTE lawsuit?
Yeah.
Bro, if they watch this interview, like, this is all they need. And, like, Big Show said this, and I'm like, bro, he basically said, bro, that they were trained, back in the day with the chair shots. Don't block the chair shot because you're going to get your fingers broken. So just tuck your head and take the freaking chair shot. And then Big Show turns around and goes, oh, yeah, bro, and at 50 years old, all my fingers are going to be working and I'm going to have brain damage. And I'm like, oh, my, bro, like if that lawyer of that lawsuit gets a hold of that clip, bro, like I was shocked he said that.
I love this look for Sable
me
coming
too.
to the ring
Me too.
I think she had a little bit of face work done at this point where she's
Now, do you notice, though, Matt, Sable's the baby face. Look at the way she came down to the ring compared to the way Ronda comes down to the ring. She's going for a match. Her mind is on the match. It's all freaking business. She's not slapping hands. She's not smiling. She's not waving. She's about to go to war. Same way Ronda Rousey went to the ring for UFC. Same way.
You know who's the only modern wrestler I hear really talk about the moment you leave the curtain is the most important thing? Do you know who the person is who gets it and talks about it and does it?
Who's that?
Charlotte.
See, I believe that. I definitely believe that. You could tell, man.
Look at her the moment she walks through that curtain, dude. She's like,
look at Sable. I mean, that's what I'm talking. She knows that the camera's on her, bro. Like, she knows it. It's. See, now Jackie's just being cocky. She's the heel. She's just being the cocky heel.
So we're watching Jacqueline walk to the ring with Mark Marrow. Was Sable
so
powerbombing Mark Marrow the end of his career?
I don't think so. I don't think so. I really don't think so, bro. Mark Marrow was so underrated, bro. When you go back and look at some of Mark Marrow's stuff, he was so freaking underrated, bro. One of the things he used to do, bro, was when he was doing the Marvelous Mark Marrow gimmick. I think he's doing that here now, right?
Yeah.
Bro, he would get ready, bro. He would always pull his tights up over his belly button. You remember that?
Yeah.
It used to pop me but bro, he was very, very underrated, bro.
Now
look, you got to look at Sable, bro, and you've got to understand this is maybe, bro. Let's see, March, April, May, June, July, August, September, October, November. This is less than a year of training, okay, bro? And she's in the ring with a freaking veteran. And for 10 months of training, watch Sable, bro. It's always blown me away. She never gets the credit, bro.
And I mean, even the way she's hitting the ropes and everything, she's going for the TKO, which is a little bit like that wasn't great. But we have Shane McMahon in there as the referee, which is kind of interesting.
I didn't even realize that.
Yeah, and it's Shane. I don't think he was Shane yet. Maybe he was, but I don't think he would be, because why would he be in this match? But it's interesting to see him in the ring as we see him now. Oh, that power bomb!
Oh, now that looked believable, bro. So you got to give him more credit, bro. Like, doing this for her to get her over. That's where people miss it, bro. He was doing this for her to get her over, and people don't appreciate that, man.
That power bomb was a little bit scary from Sable to Mark Marrow, but she pulled it off. It was a power bomb from Sable to Mark Marrow outside the ring. They're back inside the ring. Shane is the referee, and Jacqueline is mocking, pulled off Sable's weave and is mocking her with it as she's kicking her. Hey, those we could talk about this all day, but those kicks from Brie Bella to Liv Morgan, they shouldn't even do kicks like that. Like I just saw Jacqueline do that. You have such a smaller area that you're allowed to hit.
Yeah, that's what Stevie Richards said. Exactly that, Matt. Matt, the girls are trying to go out there and do what the guys do, but there are some things the girls can't do like the guys. Here's a perfect example, and Stevie said it. When Bree is trying to do the Daniel Bryan spot, bro, she can't kick the girl in the boobs.
Right.
Daniel Bryan. Right. Daniel Bryan has a big area.
Waist to chin. Chin.
That right. Brie Bella's got this, bro.
Yeah, 6 inches.
Yeah, so like you've got to take those things into account, man.
And I mean, certainly we're seeing. Is that what you attribute to the many injuries that we've seen among the women's division?
Bro, lately? They're trying to do what the guys do, and they're not built the same way, bro. Their bodies are not built to take the same punishment as the guys. Matt, you've got 3 girls out right now at the same time with concussions. I mean, come on, bro. Like, that's not good. Wow, that looked good. And Jackie being the pro, doing the job, even though you knew she didn't like it.
Yeah, well,
she's doing it.
She got her win over Disco, so she's good.
Yeah, there you go. It evens out. Sable knowing to sell. She's probably really hurting, though.
Let me ask you this, because I'm not in the loop on this at all about Disco. What is it about Disco that makes
Do you know he's on Impact? You know he's on Impact tomorrow night, bro?
Is he?
Well, I can't wait.
To quote Tony Schiavone, that ought to put some butts in the seats, right?
Yeah. Yeah, what are you going to say, though?
What is it about Disco that makes everybody rib him? Why is he that guy? Why is he that guy that everybody is mean to him and ribs him and stuff? What is it about him?
Because he's so good. He's so good-spirited, bro. You can't make him mad. He never gets angry. There isn't a political bone in his body. There isn't a mean bone in his body. He's just the perfect foil, bro. God, that looked good.
Who's the other guy like that is Robbie. Robbie E. Rob Strauss. He's like, he just gets ribbed all the time by everybody,
Yes.
And he doesn't sell it, but man, it's nonstop.
Yeah.
So we are down to the quarterfinals now. I believe our finalists are Mankind, Undertaker.
Bro, it's hysterical, Matt, with this. Yeah. Like, I love the nuances. I just love the little things. The fact that his bow tie is still intact.
Well, absolutely. I mean, you got to keep it classy, Vince. I love that he's clean shaven, but he's wearing the damn mask.
Yeah, just freaking. Who will ever be able to repeat the things Mick Foley did? I mean, come on, bro. Like, never. Never in our lifetime. Never.
It's like, you say in other sports, you say there'll never be another Michael Jordan. There'll never be another Hulk Hogan. Well, there damn sure is going to be another Hulk Hogan before there's another Mick Foley. I'll tell you that much.
I agree 1,000%, man.
In a lot of ways, Mick Foley's the Pete Rose of wrestling because he gets the absolute most out of his ability. The absolute most. 100% all the time.
Absolutely, man. Absolutely.
Pete Rose couldn't run or hit or field or anything, but he won Gold Gloves and batting titles because he worked harder than everyone else. And Foley knew he was up against that. And now we have Stone Cold against Mick Foley. My God.
He's still selling.
Yeah. What a great favor Stone Cold did for the whole world when he started that podcast for us fans. I mean, that podcast really peeled the curtain back and really, of course, a lot of people think there's too many now, but man, I tell you, when I first discovered Stone Cold's podcast, I'm like, what in the hell is this?
Yeah.
He's great at it too.
He's great at it, bro. That's his personality, man. God, look at these throwing those freaking punches from left field, man. See what I mean, bro? Just the intensity, like that's what it is, that intensity level. You're in a fight, bro. You want to win the fight, bro.
Everybody's on their feet for this match. Everybody's on their feet because they think Austin is representing the common man, the working man, and Foley is the corporate shill, as sympathetic as he can be sometimes.
Yeah. God, Austin, the intensity of Austin, man. You know who is probably, the two guys, when I say intensity, I think of two guys. Look at Vince's facials. I think of Austin and I think of Jake Roberts.
Sure.
When you're talking about intensity, bro.
You know, you told me something interesting the other day in one of our Truth with Consequences. Thank you guys for listening to this Patreon version. We love you. We love you more than everybody else. So thank you so much. But you said when you told Vince once you didn't know where it came from, where creativity came from, right?
Yep.
So I was talking. It was a fan thing where I met Jake Roberts, and I was talking to him about this great promo he did against $1 Million Man Ted DiBiase, where he goes, and you wallow in the pit of your own avarice, just like, and I'm like, it's just gorgeous, and you're like, where'd you get that? He's like, man, I don't know where the fuck that shit comes from,
Yeah,
like, I just do it.
Yeah. I always felt that way, man. There was never a fear of not being able to top it and not having something for the next week. It just came, man. I mean, it just came.
Did any two guys typify, you talk about in-ring action and the difference between you and the writers as far as you not being about the in-ring action, but these two guys, Foley and Austin, who worked in the entire history of wrestling a more entertaining, high impact, and safe style? Safe, high impact, and entertaining. Right?
No, absolutely, bro. Absolutely. And look at the people, bro. Look at the people. And this is a safe, like you just said, bro, fundamental wrestling match.
Foley's running away. Look at Foley run, man. Look how mobile he was there. Wow.
Patterson.
Because, Bret Hart works safe, but I think he could be a little boring, and I think other guys work, do a lot of dangerous moves. Of course, Foley is known for that, but this high impact in-ring style, safe, high impact, entertaining.
Yeah.
You know who else you got to give credit to for that too? Is Triple H.
That? Yeah. Yep, you do. Yep. Patterson and Biss. I knew that was coming.
Double noggin knocker from
Bro, what
Stone
happened
Cold.
to the noggin knocker, man? What happened to the noggin knocker, bro? That was the spot, man.
It's funny they have these rules in WWE now, like certain moves you can't do, certain things you can't say. I guarantee the noggin knocker is a thing you're not allowed to say.
Bro, you know who never ever gets talked about, bro, and I don't understand it, because there was a time when I was growing up, bro, where he was probably as over as Bruno, but you never hear any mention of him. I don't even think he's in the Hall of Fame. I might be wrong. Bro, how come nobody ever talks about Ivan Putski?
I believe Ivan Putski is in the Hall of Fame.
I hope he is.
I think he was one of those early guys when they'd put 10 guys in.
Man, bro, he was so freaking over, man.
It was so he was a guy who he was the wrong age and didn't translate in a little bit to when Hogan came in. He was still hanging out, but
we paid money to see Putski, bro. No doubt about it. We paid money to go see him. Look at Vince's face.
You know what Putski and Bruno also have in common?
What's that?
Two kind of untalented sons.
They both looked good, though.
They eventually got in great shape. Putski looked really good. I'm just joking. It was an easy joke, but Putski looked great. He did some WCW stuff where he really got in shape.
He did look great. He looked very good. Yeah.
But David and Bruno's story is so interesting that the fact that David didn't feel his dad helped him enough caused a big rift in their relationship.
Yeah. What's the relationship with David and Rick? Do you know?
David, Flair, and Rick?
Yeah.
I don't know. I do know. I haven't seen Dave. I think it's good. I think it's good. I think the near-death experience brought everybody closer together and caused a real life change in Rick. And when those things, my mother dropped me off at an orphanage for real. But when she got esophagus cancer, I went to go visit her. You know what I'm saying? These kind of things bring people together to remind you what's important.
Yeah.
I do know David is doing very well. David's doing well. He's not in the business. He's got a business. He's doing good. He's married. He's gone on to his life. He's, put on a little weight. Looks good. And I also know for sure he does not want to be on Wyatt Ended with Robbie E. and Matt Coon, because he is my dream guest on Wyatt
Do you
Ended.
know, Matt, I was just going to say to you, bro, like I couldn't even tell you why. I would love to have a phone conversation with David. Not even have him a guest on a show or anything. I would just love to have a private conversation with David Flair. You know what I mean?
Well, I do have a friend in common with David Flair, and I will say that I do know he's doing good. Wrestling's behind him. Wrestling's out of his life.
Yeah, good.
And I do know that he is not interested on being on a wrestling podcast, even one that talks about.
I don't blame him.
Yeah.
I don't blame him at all.
I mean,
I would love just to have a conversation with him, though.
What you guys did with him is one thing. I'm just saying, whoever did it, but what they did with him in WWE was something else entirely.
What did they do with him in WWE? I don't even know. What happened?
He was in developmental, and there was an angle where the Undertaker came down and just beat the holy shit out of him.
Was this after or before WCW?
After.
Okay. See, I don't even know any of this.
And also, of course, there's some little bit of heat between Hogan and Flair over Hogan whipping David so badly in the ring with the weight belt at one point. David, I'm sure David would have been a great wrestler if they would have kept him down developmental like 2 or 3 more years,
I loved working with David. I really did. I enjoyed working with him a lot.
That kid seemed to be down for anything.
Yeah. He was so respectful.
And I mean, Stacy Keibler, you know what I'm saying? So,
yeah, that screwed him up a lot.
But maybe worth it. You know what I'm saying?
I know that screwed up his head a lot. I remember that.
There's nothing you can do to a young man to tell him that. If you say, dude, these women, they will ruin you or whatever, you can't, you might as well just save your breath. There's nothing you can do.
Yep. Nope.
Because take a 22-year-old Vince Russo, tell him that. He won't listen.
Nope.
Foley and Austin, I don't know another way to put it. They're just fantastic.
And listen to the people, man. Listen to the freaking people, man. This was St. Louis, right? Well, St. Louis is a great freaking wrestling town, man.
And they do respect, and with a long tradition of wrestling. Of course, Harley Race, is the guy that's most associated with St. Louis. But I think right now the guy most associated with is Randy Orton. Yeah.
But great wrestling town, man. Always had a different feel every time you went to it, man.
It's fascinating to me to watch this for the first time, because there's almost no element in you of look what I did. There's an element of you of being so proud of these guys and being so happy.
Here's what you're seeing. I'm a fan of this stuff. You know what I'm saying? I'm not even thinking, oh, Vince, you wrote. I'm thinking, man, I'm enjoying the shit out of this. I wish I was watching this today. That's my feeling, man. That's my feeling.
So Austin.
Oh, Vince. Oh
man.
Nia, shades of Nia Jax.
Yeah. I've never punched. So what we saw Vince McMahon interfere in the match to break up a certain pin after a stunner, and then he hit the referee, Mike Chioda. Look at Foley's pants are down. That's fantastic.
Oh, tremendous. You know he pulled those down, Matt.
Oh, you had to know. And he did the stunner, and Shane McMahon sliding in the ring. Oh, he did too. It is Shane McMahon, because look at this. Here it comes. Wait for it. And
look at Austin. Look at Austin sell this. Look at this. Phenomenal.
You son of a bitch.
Oh, bro. That's great stuff.
So that is Shane because he's in on the fix. So SmackDown makes no sense now, huh? With Shane?
Oh, my God. This last week?
I mean, the last, ever since Shane won the cup.
Last week, bro. Oh, my God, bro. Oh, my. You talk about making no sense.
So Shane says...
You know what I really wish, Matt? You know what my dream would be?
What's that?
You know what my freaking dream would be? I swear to God. If I can give you a dream, you know what my dream would be?
Go ahead.
Vince, we're going to give you 4 weeks. The rosters are yours. We're not going to interfere. You're not going to have to deal with anybody but Vince. 4 weeks. 4 weeks. Get this product back on track, and then you go away. I swear to God, bro, like something like that, I would.
Well, we're going to follow up on that because for our Patreon members, we're going to do a lot of booking stuff. I want to hear your booking ideas. I think that's an unmined area of the Vince Russo, commodity. And I also think people need to hear what your ideas are and what you would do. Instead of what a lot of us hear, a lot of this sucks, that sucks. But, what would you do instead? Yeah. And I would be curious to find out. I know that if Shane McMahon won the World Cup for some reason, it would probably mean something the next week. You know what I'm saying? If it was Vince Russo.
Of course. Of course. I mean, of course, bro. It's just...
We just watched Austin lose the match. The fix was in the insurance policy of Mankind beat him after Shane refused to make the count. And they're all making a getaway. They're all getting in the...
It's tremendous. Just look at Austin's walk, bro. You know what I mean? Look at his walk, man. It's freaking tremendous. I don't even know what happens here. I don't know what happens, but they get away.
I love that Slaughter.
Now, how are people not tuning in Monday night? You know what I'm saying, Matt? He's going after him? Oh, Jesus.
He had to find a good American-made car to get in to chase him with.
That is so funny.
Austin can drive, too, It's funny that he's chasing down Briscoe and Patterson and Slaughter because I think in a shoot, Briscoe could take Austin, right?
Oh, me and Austin talked about that on his show. We talked about Patterson, Briscoe, and Vince. If this were a shoot, like who'd get over on who? You know what I mean? And Steve was telling me, bro, there was a night, bro, where they were doing a house show. And he started freaking screwing around with freaking Briscoe. And he said Briscoe really started getting hot and like gave him a warning. He said, bro, he freaking took me down like within 10 seconds. So he said Briscoe. He said without a shadow of a doubt, Briscoe.
There was a great quote of Bruce Pritchard's, talking about Briscoe when, he was, maybe it had to do with the Montreal screw job. And he's like, someone asked him if, Briscoe, did you hook him? And Briscoe goes, if I wanted to hook him, he'd be hooked. So.
No doubt, bro. Like, no doubt, man.
Shane gets a lot of shit, and rightfully so, I think, but there's something about him that's special.
Yeah, definitely.
Even in the ring, there's something about just his level of just going and getting it. That guy goes and gets it. So we're down to the semifinals again. Mankind is in the finals. He's going to take on the winner of The Undertaker and The Rock. This was a match that was they couldn't fix narrative-wise because, Undertaker's not going to take a fall. So we're going to see how this plays out.
I have no idea how this is going to play out, bro. No idea. No idea.
According to the narrative that ended up playing out later, The Rock had to get to the finals. So we'll see how they make it happen. Undertaker's entrance is fantastic. I'll give you that, right? But now he's all entrance, right? So it's like not that cool anymore, I don't think.
Yeah. And it's really drawn out and it's really long and you find yourself saying, okay, get to the ring already. And I hate saying that, but that's what I find myself saying a lot of the times.
Well, I think I get the impression a lot of these guys don't want to wrestle from HBK to Undertaker. But they're drawn in by Vince asking them to, and also just some tremendous paydays from their friend, the Crown Prince in Saudi Arabia.
I get into this debate all the time with Disco where I believe, Matt, legacy means something. And Glenn totally disagrees with me as one of the boys. And Glenn says, bro, you're a mark. A paycheck is a paycheck. And I said, I disagree with you. I disagree with you, Glenn. When you have a freaking legacy and you've built up a legacy. Now, if you need the money, that's one thing, Matt. If you need the money, that's one thing. Bro, if you don't need the money and the money's not going to make a dent in your bank account, I believe there's something to legacy. I really do, bro.
So you're of the mind that no matter how much money, even if you're set for life, not to put it on Sean because we don't know his situation, but $1 million to do the Saudi Arabia thing isn't worth it if it's his last match because it's probably his last match.
Yep. And bro, I talked to somebody who works with Sean at NXT. I mean, you could do the math and figure out who it is, but he told me Sean was really on the fence. And this person told me he tried to talk Sean out of it for the reasons I'm saying. Like he was, telling Sean about, bro, your legacy, and you're the only one that stayed away this long. Like, why do you want to go do this? And, he told me Sean was really, really on the fence about it, So, then you got to take into consideration then, Sean's relationship with Triple H. Is he really doing him a solid? Cena backing out, and you know what I'm saying?
And his job, like he's got a job there,
Yeah.
I'm not saying it threatens his job, but it certainly doesn't help your job. If you're Vince McMahon, you're like, oh, after all I've done for this guy, he's not going to take $1 million payday to do this match after Brian and AJ Brian and Cena backed out. Hey, but the good news is, Vince, it doesn't look like Brian was getting punished. We were kind of said what was the deal with his turn and everything, and you may have postured that maybe he was getting punished for the missing the crown jewel, but it looks like he turned out okay from it.
Well, we'll see, Matt, because we're gonna see. I still don't know how Daniel Bryan is a heel. I don't know, bro. First of all, you got to see. First of all, bro, it is gonna hurt merch sales. They took away the yes gimmick, so it's going to see how it plays out, bro. I don't know if they get this guy over as a heel. I mean, bro, can I ask you a question, Matt? Here's a simple question. Let me put it to you this way. You ready?
Sure.
How do you get Daniel Bryan over as a heel when you can't get Bray Wyatt over as a heel?
It's a good point. I think Bryan's going to do it. I think he's committed to it. I think he did. It was one of the only decent things on SmackDown this week was his promo he did.
But Matt, is it a matter of? I think he's going to be committed to it too. No doubt about it. I mean, the guy's a pro. But is it a matter of him being committed to it? Or is it a matter of, are the fans going to buy into it? I mean, he could be committed to it to the moon, and I believe he will be. Are the fans going to buy into it?
I think so. I think maybe we underestimate the little signals wrestlers give the fans when they really don't want to turn heel. Like Becky did. I think, sometimes these guys aren't all in. And I think, Flair too. When Flair would turn heel, we always say you can't turn Flair heel, but he would still do some of that stuff that people liked, So we'll see with Bryan. The thing is, I think it's possible because the way they handled him with his incredible story and his incredible comeback, you wouldn't have even pondered the possibility that he would turn heel this soon into his return.
Well, I think a lot of that was really bad booking. I really believe a lot of that was terrible, terrible, terrible writing, bro. 100%. We were saying this back then, bro. The guy returns and it was like no big deal. I mean, God, that should have been handled so differently, man.
And the way they handled his match at WrestleMania, I was in attendance, and we were Daniel Bryan crowd, and they took him out of the match really early, and it really killed the crowd. It killed the whole crowd for the night, and it never really recovered because that was the same place where Daniel Bryan had his big moment 5 years before at WrestleMania, and they took him out. And I remember I was on Wade Keller's show a few months ago, and I was just saying, this is the guy. Put your stuff behind this guy. The fans love this guy. Use him while he's here because people love him. The way it is a little bit like there's a grudgeful acceptance of Daniel Bryan's position in the company still.
Yeah.
That's Earl in the ring, right? Yeah, that's Earl. Now we've got The Rock tied up in the ropes with Undertaker going at him.
God, when's the last time you saw that spot? Right?
It's very true.
When's the last time you saw that?
Well, the ropes are a lot tighter now to make for the high flying, and the springboards. Man, it's no wonder Taker is so injured at this point this is a gigantic man who takes just the most tremendous bumps
Matt, my fondest memories of Taker are, bro, he'd go out and he'd have matches like this, bro. And then he would go to the back to a totally isolated place because he didn't want anybody to see. And I always saw, bro, because he was always like last. And before I left the building, I made sure I thanked everybody for the show. You know what I mean? So I would find him, but he would go always on an isolated place, laid out flat on the ground in agonizing pain from his back. Agonizing pain. And I would look at him and I would say to myself, how the hell did he just do that out there? It was unbelievable, bro.
Yeah.
Those are the things you don't like. To me, those are the things I don't forget.
And maybe he could have done himself some favors by not being such a stoic, tough guy and showing that he was hurt, and recovering. You know what I'm saying? Like, I get it, and I appreciate, I respect it, that you want to do your job. You don't want people to see you hurt. But maybe he,
Well, Matt, one of the things that hurt me, bro, and I'll be honest with you, man, for exactly the reasons why I'm saying, when I would see him laid out like that a lot, and we needed, we needed him to work, we wrote for him to work. I mean, I can remember, Matt, like saying, bro, are you okay? Like, is everything okay? Is everything okay? Is everything okay? Is everything okay? He would always tell me he was fine, and he would never sell anything. And I remember, like, when I left the WWE and I saw Terry Taylor like 6 months after, Terry Taylor told me I had some heat with Taker because Taker told Terry Taylor that I used to make him work hurt. And I said, Terry, he never would sell when he was hurt. I would ask him a million times if he was okay, and he always said hurt. I'm not a freaking mind reader. Like, I don't know if you're hurt or not unless you tell me.
Right. And do you think that was a true story that Terry Taylor was telling you?
I don't know why he would have lied about it, And I really felt bad about that, bro. That really, really bothered me, because I have so much respect for the guy.
Well, let's hope that's not true, because and also, I mean, how does Vince Russo make the Undertaker do anything? Like, really?
But that's the thing, bro. These guys never told you when they were hurt, bro. They never sold being hurt. They were afraid of losing their spot. They were afraid of losing the payday. They never sold it, man. Did I ever tell you my Bill DeMott story, bro?
No.
I swear to God, Matt, like Bill DeMott, he suffered a concussion. So he was out for a couple of weeks, Matt, and he wanted to come back. And he was telling me, bro, I'm fine. I want to get in there. Right? We didn't have the testing and all that shit back then, bro. This is 20 years ago, right? Right. So, bro, Bill DeMott has a match. I have Bill DeMott on my podcast a couple of years ago. You know what freaking Bill DeMott told me? He goes to me, Vince, remember I told you I was fine and I wanted to get back in the ring and wrestle this? And I go, yeah, bro, I do remember. And he goes, bro, do you know my first match back?
We're just watching some interference on The Rock, which doesn't make a whole lot of sense, but let's
I think we might be trying to throw people. Or I'm right. Trying to figure this out.
So how hurt was Bill DeMott in his first match back?
So Bill DeMott told me in an interview 15 years later, he goes, Vince, listen to this, Matt. He goes, do you know that match I had when I knew I was fully concussed, but I had to get back in there? He goes, bro, during the match, I lost my eyesight. It was black. I could not see. And I'm like, bro, how could you do that to me? Like, how could you, like, my God, bro,
So talk about a twist here. You have Kane interfering, choke slamming The Rock, costing his brother, The Undertaker, the match. And that is how they get out of the match. You know, I got to tell you, there's a lot of freaking DQs in this.
Yeah, oh, yeah. Well, we had to, though. But that's part of the story, bro. You know what I mean? There aren't DQs for the sake of having DQs and countouts. It's a big part of the story.
And, I mean, you guys do as good as you can. The real story in this is the payoff. But tournaments can be a little boring. And, I mean, this is nowhere near as terrible as WrestleMania 4. You know, you have a lot of
I was at that. You know, I was at that. You know, I was at WrestleMania 4 and 5. Yeah, the Trump Tower.
Wow.
Yeah. I was such a savage mark, bro. Such a savage mark back then.
Oh, you were there when the Mega Powers exploded.
Yeah, I went to 4 and 5. Yep.
Was the Mega Powers exploding the best narrative, plotline story that was ever written that you weren't a part of?
It was good. It was up there. And, bro, what made that so good, too, bro, was the fact that happened on the Saturday Night Main Event. You know what I mean, bro? That happened on NBC. So, like, the world saw it, which was huge, bro, you know?
And it was a 1-year arc. It was that's kind of the dream to do this 1-year arc. And, you know, Hogan was fantastic. But, man, that thing was all about Macho Man Randy Savage.
Yeah, but I got to tell you, Matt, if you ask me what was the most memorable moment that I ever witnessed, was a part of, and it will blow you away, bro, because it was the simplest thing. And to me, it was far and away the most impactful moment I ever saw in wrestling. And bro, I think I'm safe enough to say I will never see a more impactful moment than this one.
And what was that?
The most simplest thing in the world, bro. What do you think it was?
I can't even guess. I don't even know. I'm not good at that.
Andre ripping the cross off Hogan's neck.
Oh, yeah, that was great.
Bro, that was the most impactful moment I ever saw in the wrestling business. That simple. That freaking simple, bro.
Now, you have to be a fan to understand what that moment was, because I was a fan then. Andre was always aligned with Hogan. He disappeared for a little bit. He was under the Mask of the Machines, always taking on Bobby Heenan. And here he comes out with Heenan. And Hogan sells it, though, like facially with his, you know, why brother, you know, it was fantastic.
Tremendous. Never forget it. I was going to say, I was just about to say to you 5 minutes ago, I can't believe we're not going to have the tag team titles on this show.
Man, I'm so glad we're seeing the New Age Outlaws. Ladies and gentlemen, boys, oh my God. And they're fucking A. Hey, who would win an arm wrestling contest? Billy Gunn or Al Snow in 2018?
Well, I haven't seen Billy. Is Billy still?
Billy's huge.
I got to say Billy Gunn. Bro, Bro, let me tell you something. Have you seen Bart lately?
No, but I really want to get him on Wide Ended with Robbie E, man. What does he look like?
Matt.
Is it over?
Matt, you would see.
Does he look like me?
No, the opposite, bro. You would see Bart Gunn a mile away and run the other way.
We saw just a sign held by a blonde woman, and I don't know if you caught it, Vince, but it said, I'll suck yours if you'll suck mine to DX.
Oh, my God, bro.
I'm telling you. Yeah, so Billy Gunn is bigger than this now. Much bigger than this.
Bart is ridiculous. You know that guy who's all the rave now, like Kevin Cross?
Yeah.
That's his name, Kevin? Yeah. And he's a great guy, too, and everything. Bart is a Killer Cross times 3.
Bart's still wrestling? What is Bart doing these days?
I don't know, bro. His head is fully shaved. He's bald. Bro, forget it. Like a monster. He's a monster, bro.
Now, I'm not trying to plug the show. I mean, this is just, this is just what happened. But as we see the Headbangers, just interviewed them on Why It Ended together. I loved it. I think these guys are really interesting. I think you guys did about as much with them as you could, quite honestly.
Well, only because of the roster. You know what I'm saying, bro? That's the only reason. That's the only reason, bro.
And what, and I was talking to him about this, and I asked him, about how big a hand they had personally in the ascent of the New Age Outlaws. Like, they really got the New Age Outlaws over, the Headbangers.
Yes, they did. They did. Freaking D'Lo. I love D'Lo.
So D'Lo and Mark Henry come to the ring. D'Lo told me something fascinating because I never understood the D'Lo Brown character. I never really understood what it was. And he told me he was a punk kid trying to act hard who really wasn't hard.
Right.
And I'm like, damn, okay. I get it. I get it. That's fantastic. What did you think about the fact that once in a while the announcers would go, look at that badass D'Lo Brown. He's a CPA.
Do you know, Matt, can I tell you something?
Sure.
Oh, God, I don't even know if I should say this or not. Do you know that was all a work?
Really?
Yes. You know how I know?
How?
I've never said this before. You know who told me?
Who's that?
His wife.
Really?
His wife said, Vince, D'Lo was never an accountant. Like, that's all a work. And I've never had this conversation with him, ever. But his wife told me that because I thought the same thing. And she said, bro, no, like, no.
Okay, well, if it's a work, it's fucking brilliant.
Yes.
Because then it gives him a level of a level underneath it. It's like that Larry David episode where like there's no man in America as esteemed as the black man with glasses,
Yes.
And
yes.
he's like, it gives this guy another level where you go, he's not all he appears to be. That's interesting.
Yeah. And bro, I guarantee you, if you asked him that today, he would deny it. But I know his wife was telling me the truth. I mean, she had no reason to, make that up.
One of my favorite moments working with Robbie E., the Robert Strauss brand, is that he did not know what a CPA was. He had no idea what a CPA was.
Robbie.
I know.
Robbie.
He also asked if Walt Disney was a real person.
No, he didn't.
Yes, he did.
No, he didn't.
I think he's ribbing me. He can't be that dumb. It's impossible.
Yes, well, he can, but I always get on him about the Brooke Adams thing, bro. Always like, bro, like, come on. like.
And there is that running power bomb, which of course is associated with the tragedy of draws.
I always say this too, Matt, and I'm sure I told you already. I really think when I look over the years, and I told you this, Billy was the best pure athlete I've ever worked with, ever. Great athlete.
It's interesting though, to me, whenever we use the word pure athlete, it almost implies there's something else missing. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like you say, he's the greatest pure athlete. Like you would say that about a basketball player who was really good at going to the rim but didn't have a jump shot,
Yeah.
And with Billy, he's also very big. He's like 6'5". He's a very tall guy.
You know who else was a great athlete too, though, bro? Really? And you don't think about it because he's small. Freaking Jeff Jarrett was a great basketball player, bro.
Yeah.
Great basketball player. Jeff Jarrett was a great athlete. Still is.
It just goes to show a couple things. When you see Road Dogg in the ring, Road Dogg was so over. And, you look at him and you look at Billy. If you could just combine those under one wrestler, you'd have the biggest draw of all time.
Yeah. But he don't follow me anymore, poor Road Dogg. Got hot at me, I think.
Is that why you think they made such a good tag team? Because they really filled each other's gaps and shortcomings for each other?
Yep. Bro, Road Dogg was one of these guys, Matt, going all the way back like to Jesse James and whatever the hell. He was one of these guys, bro, where I would show up at TV and every week begging me, Vince, please, anything, like every single week, never looking up, never letting up. And bro, I remember like it was Vince at his house that said, I want to put Brian James and Billy Gunn together. And this was Vince's idea because the NWO was really over at the time. And Vince was like, he said to me, he's like, Vince, those guys are old. Like we've got young lions here. Like we've got young athletes that could go. And then Vince said to me, I want to put Billy Gunn and Brian James together. And, I eventually want to put him with Hunter and Sean and yada, yada, yada. And bro, I remember I looked at him and I was like, "Really, Vince?" Like, bro, it was rockabilly at the time, and bro, I did not see it. And he goes, "Yeah, bro." He goes, "They're young, they're athletic, they look good." And I said, "Oh, okay, but I got to tell you, bro, because Vince backed that horse." He was the one really, really producing them early on. Bro, do you remember the dumpster episode?
Oh, absolutely, with Terry Funk
Bro,
and Mankind.
Vince McMahon walked those guys through that all day long. And bro, very rarely would you see Vince like hands-on like that with somebody, like very, very rarely. But I think just the fact that he backed that horse, he was like, I'm going to make sure these guys get over.
They were his project, but they also had to do their part as well.
Oh, no doubt.
But
doubt.
But the booking really worked for them as well. D'Lo is in the ring, and it seems like you look back at him, if you don't know about him, you're like, what the hell happened to this guy? Because he's amazing. But the draws thing really had an effect on him.
Oh, it absolutely had to, man. Absolutely. I can't imagine. That, bro. You can't imagine that.
No, he was not, and he admits that. He was not the same, and but you look at this guy in here, and man, Road Dogg, I tell you, pretty amazing group of talent we have in the ring right now.
Oh yeah, yep.
Now, was Mark Henry as green as they say when he came in?
Yeah, he was. I mean, he was, but he was great. I remember. I think we put him with Lawler first, right?
Yeah. What was he set up to fail with that big contract and his inexperience and rushing him in there? But
kind of the same thing with Big Show when he was given that big contract for all those years. It was very hard on him at the beginning,
Yeah, I used to be an avid NBA fan, and I watched All-Star Weekend, and I was watching when that young Olympic powerlifter slam dunked the basketball in the Celebrity All-Star game, and
yeah,
that's all he did was slam dunk it. It was just amazing to see him, that guy that big, do that. And then next thing you know, he's in WWE, and was he treated as badly as they say, do you think? By the
I never saw him treated badly. I mean, maybe he was in the locker room. I mean, I didn't treat him badly. I don't think we treated him badly from a writing perspective. Matt, it would kind of surprise you, like, just how naive Ed and I were to a lot of things, bro. We never got involved with that shit, bro. Like, Bruce used to get involved in that shit, like, Bruce would always know what's going on and who's got heat with who and who's banging who. Like, we never got involved in that shit, bro. Like, we were just oblivious to, like, everything that was going on outside of writing the show. I mean, we never participated in any of that shit. That's why I could never tell you what was going on with the boys and what the gossip was and who was doing who. And we were just separate from that.
And a three-way, you guys started doing these three-ways and four-ways, and it was a new thing. Who was a big proponent of these three-way and four-way matches?
It was probably us, bro, just to kind of get the guys on the card and get them a payday and, reward them. I mean, it was more that than anything else,
It's to the point now where if you have a one-on-one match, it's like a really esteemed part of the card now, on a WrestleMania.
Yeah.
Who do you think the Headbangers attribute? You're dying. This is a long thing for you. Who do you think the Headbangers attribute for their gimmick? Do you know?
Isn't it Cornette?
It is Cornette.
Yeah.
And Cornette, I believe, came up with the idea of the skirts, which you don't see moshing guys with skirts, but it really worked for them, I think.
Absolutely it did. Absolutely it did.
The story is Cornette went to a Danzig show, and which is just awesome. And then he was inspired for the character. He went to a Danzig show. That's fantastic.
No, it was a good gimmick.
Yeah.
I mean, and again, they were in the spot they were in only because of the roster. That's the only reason, bro. Guys, see how high up Billy got there?
That sky high is amazing. And it is dependent on who he's working with too,
Yeah.
But also the bangers told us that the headbangers told us that they didn't really play the political game.
No.
And if you play the political game, there's risk involved. But if you don't, there's risk that you just stay in the same spot. That famouser.
But bro, there really isn't a political game because, bro, I could tell you, and I talked about it here with Road Dogg, and the same with Austin. Bro, when guys were relentless with us and it was like, give us a shot, give us a shot, give us a shot, give us a shot. After a while, bro, we were always looking for a way to give them a shot. You know what I'm saying, bro? Like, so it was, Headbangers never did that with us.
Did Billy just hit a pile driver? Is that how he won that? The camera kind of missed it.
Yeah, I didn't see. Look at those shorts, bro.
Oh, my God. But, and I mean.
And that was Mr. Ass was all freaking Vince, bro. All Vince. That's why when I saw that urine stuff at Survivor Series, I'm like, is he never going to, get over that sophomore humor? Like, the guy's 72 or 73 now, and that shit still pops him, man.
The pee stuff?
Yeah. Yeah.
And not to mention the next night, the pee jokes that weren't funny.
Oh, my God. Poor Bobby Roode. I can't. I was watching the show, and I was saying to myself, because I know Bobby really well, and I'm like, what's going through his mind as a shoot? I mean, what is he really thinking as a shoot, And
so, they won the match. The New Age Outlaws won the match, and they're talking a little shit right here. It was interesting to me that you had a smaller guy being picked on by bigger guys and baby faces, and they're just ridiculing him for, and it's like you have this anti-bullying campaign, and then it seemed weird, the whole Drake Maverick thing.
That's what I got into a fight with Disco yesterday because you said the same thing, Matt. You just said you guys are anti-bullying, and you're bullying, okay? Matt, how many times, this Glenn was arguing with me today, how many times are they waving the charity banner? Connor's Cure, Susan B. Komen. Now Dean Ambrose is saying, oh, well, Roman Reigns got leukemia because he did something really bad and God is punishing him. Yeah. I'm like, Glenn, do you not see, they're backing all these charities, Susan B. Komen, all these poor women with breast cancer, and now they're doing something saying basically, well, those women got breast cancer, so they must have done something wrong. I said, do you not see? And here's my point to Glenn. It's like, bro, why go there? Why would you go there? And Glenn's go, it's heat. I said, first of all, bro, it's cheap heat. Okay. And I said, second of all, if you can't figure out other ways to get Dean Ambrose heat, I said, I said, Glenn, because here's the thing with Glenn, Matt. Here's the difference with Glenn and me and you. He doesn't have any kids. Right. So I said, Glenn, what if a 10-year-old kid is watching that show? And what if that 10-year-old kid is turning to his daddy and saying, Dad, is God he's got leukemia. Dad, is God punishing me because I did something bad? Was I bad, Dad? I'm like, Glenn, you just don't go there. There's no reason to go there, bro.
I have an ex-student who's 12 years old who was about, I think maybe he's 14 now. He was 11 years old when he got leukemia. And the most able child you'd ever known in your life. He recovered. It was a brutal, expensive fight. And to think that, someone would use that and think it's a great line is it's not good.
Twisted. Yeah. It's twisted. It's like, I mean, God, bro, it's like, come on, man. You gotta use that to get heat.
You could have said, I'm glad Roman's not here. I'm glad he's not here. You could have said anything that wasn't he got punished because of leukemia. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
If Roman was here, I would do it to him too. There's so many different things you could do besides
just
that.
Like, why go? There's no reason to go there, bro.
And now we're here, Vince. Let's catch our second wind.
This is it, bro. We are here. I want you, Matt, to listen to right after the 1, 2, 3. There's silence, bro. Silence.
It's the perfect turn. It's the perfect turn. The turns, and a lot of times on our shows, you criticize the modern product so much. I clip it out because it's a common theme, but there's been so many turns lately.
Oh my! Well, not only that, Matt. Everybody's gone crazy lately. Have you noticed that? Becky went crazy first. Charlotte's gone crazy. Ambrose has gone crazy. Whatchamacallit? Daniel Bryant. Everybody's gone crazy lately.
You know how you can tell they go crazy, right, Vince?
How?
Crazy eyes. They all got crazy eyes now.
Crazy Eye Killer?
Yeah.
Remember Crazy Eye Killer?
Oh, yeah. Are you my white man, Larry?
I'm your Caucasian. Classic
stuff. I love Larry David. I just think he's fantastic.
This match can't be too long because they both worked a lot, right?
Yeah, but who knows? They said guys go out there, and I mean the energy in the building. People are they're sitting down, but they're gonna get into it. And now what we have is the newly up and coming baby face, or top main level baby face of The Rock, apparently taking on the corporate champion of Mankind, and to see for the vacant WWE title, and to see what happens. And the fans are getting behind The Rock for this, but they're not 100% behind The Rock on this. That's, I think, one reason it works.
Yeah, I agree. Just the timing on this whole thing and everything. I don't think something like this will ever be. I don't think people care enough. I don't think people care enough to make a moment like this again. I just don't.
We were talking about Keller and those guys yesterday, and I said, is an element that you think they could write it better, and you said, yeah. And, I'm one of these guys that thinks that I've never actually booked or fantasy booked, but I'm a creative guy. I do creative things all day. I think I could do it. But one thing I would do, Vince, is I would just copy shit that worked.
Absolutely. Absolutely, bro. Bro, there are some things in wrestling that will always work. Always, man. You got to evolve wrestling, yes, but there's a foundation of some things that will always work.
The takeover that happened, and a wrestler slapped Mauro Ranallo, and I was telling my son about kind of the history of the great wrestler attacks the announcer, and the heel partner turns babyface to help him, Yeah. And you've seen it's just a great angle. It's a great thing. And, the one I'd love to see copied is, we talked about it earlier, and I haven't seen it copied ever, is the Nikita turn. I would love to see them figure out how to go back there and pull out this monster that everybody thinks is a bad guy to help. I think that'd be great. Look at The Rock.
That was tremendous.
Wasn't it? Because it was surprising, it was believable, and it was
yeah.
Because he cries for McMahon.
Yeah, McMahon.
Man, look at these guys just going. And so these guys cardio. Who do you think's more blown up here, The Rock or Mankind?
God.
I was a fan of his dad, The Rock's dad. I thought he was a great
wrestler. Rocky Johnson and Tony Atlas.
Tony Atlas, the Soul Patrol.
Yeah.
That was, I think, the first tag team I was aware of. Like me and Rocky going all the way, and then Adonis and Murdoch beat them, and that's when I became aware of the Briscoe brothers. It was right when I started watching wrestling. And I thought Rocky Johnson was just awesome. He had a lot. You can see, the charisma was undeniable.
Yep. And I got to tell you something, bro. I say this all the time about The Rock. Rock is a multi-millionaire movie star, and I'm telling you why, and I've said this all along, because he was smarter than everybody else, and you knew it. I knew it back then, the way he handled things, the way he conducted business with me, the words that came out of his mouth, the way he got his way. He was smarter than everybody else. And you're talking about a land of workers, a land of politicians, a land of backstabbers. he was smarter than everybody else.
Because he knew how to get out. He knew how to leverage himself. He knew how to maximize and find opportunities for success. Every wrestler we've seen, from Hogan to Austin to Cena, who has had that top, to Dusty Rhodes to Ric Flair, that top level success, have tried and failed to do what The Rock did.
Yep.
I mean, The Rock did it. He hit the formula, Mankind can't even go up on that suplex now, man. It is winding down, folks.
You know about the boss man missing his spot, right?
Oh, that's right. Do
you know who he was standing right next to?
Who? Was it you?
Me.
Yeah.
And bro, I'm watching the monitor and I'm looking at him and I'm watching the monitor and I'm looking at him and I finally said, bro, aren't you supposed to be out there? Bro, his eyes got 100 times wide and he just took off to the ring. He almost blew the whole freaking thing, bro.
To be fair, though, he had 47 segments and he was good in 46 of them,
I know, but oh my God, the whole thing, bro, he almost blew.
These guys are dying.
And that's why we had to ad-lib a little bit at the end. I mean, I think Briscoe got the chair or something. They had to ad-lib the ending because Boss Man wasn't out there.
Are you aware of what Briscoe and Pritchard call the chair shot that Briscoe gives Austin, or that gives The Rock?
No.
Or he gives, I think, Foley. He calls it the tink heard around the world. Because it's such a light.
Yeah.
Because, you can't really wallop somebody, Yeah, this is a look at, now we're seeing, I mean, what really brought Mankind to the dance, unfortunately, in a lot of ways, which is his just insane bumping. We saw him get thrown out of the ring and just fall through the ropes and fall, and he had zero, self-control when it came to putting his body on the line.
Yeah. And but I mean, let's face it, Matt, he had the perfect bumping body.
Oh yeah, it's completely flat on one side.
Yeah, I mean, he's got the perfect bumping full body, bro.
Yeah, how do you see what Foley did different than a lot of these guys you criticize now for being too risky?
Bro, I don't agree with a lot of things Mick Foley did. I mean, I remember being on the other side of that cage match when they wheeled him in the back. And I mean, the first thing I said to him was, are you out of your freaking mind? I mean, I was very, very concerned about his health. I didn't know what kind of condition he was in. I did not agree with that stuff.
Was there any thought ever given to gimmicking chairs? I'm pretty sure if you gave me a welding torch and a chair and some aluminum, I could make a gimmick chair that you could hit someone with and it wouldn't hurt as bad as a regular chair.
Yeah, I mean, no, not that I know of, unless, unless it was talked about on another level, but nothing that I was involved in.
Because I have the same, there's that patented Foley hangman where he clotheslines somebody and leaves the ring too.
And the tie is still in place, by the way.
The tie is gorgeous. Because at my work, I have these folding chairs that Foley has in his hand right now. There's not a moment I pick one up and I don't think about the old school Attitude Era chair shots where you could see the giant dent in the middle of it.
Yeah.
Just from the head, and just thinking, why don't they just gimmick those things so where they do the tables and stuff, or the announcer table?
But how would you gimmick them?
I think you could cut out the main metal, replace it with aluminum, and repaint it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like if you took out the body of it and you kept the frame in and you just had aluminum enough where when it dented it wouldn't tear, and then you repainted it, I think, that could work.
God, you see how excited the people would just get, and it was basically just the noise, and it was just the noise, you know what I mean?
So you talk about wincing, dude. Like watching.
Yeah, no, I know. I'm with you. I'm mad. I'm with you. I don't, I'm not. If I don't like today's stuff, I certainly I'm not going to put that over.
But at the time, you guys weren't really cognizant of the CTE thing.
No, hell no. We had no idea at the time. I mean, no idea.
I'll tell you who kind of was though, Stone Cold Steve Austin, because he put those hands up every time.
Yeah, yeah.
He didn't care. He didn't care about his fingers. He had no.
Yeah. You see what was so funny there? They didn't try to pull Rock off. They didn't try to make the save. You see?
Right.
Everybody's out there. Nobody tried to make the save.
And now he's doing a subtle heel turn where he's ignoring the referee. Foley gets the most deadly finisher in wrestling in 2018.
I would have loved, Matt, loved to hear Pat lay out this match for these two guys. I would have loved it. I would have loved to have been there.
And they still bring in Pat once in a while to do some stuff,
yeah.
I think his fingers might have been all over that Goldberg-Lesnar feud, as far as the booking goes. And I was at SummerSlam once, and the SummerSlam where Brock Lesnar elbowed Randy Orton for real and cut him open?
Yeah.
So I had a great seat. We had these seats at the bottom of Barclays, the front row of the top level next to where the wrestlers stand. So it's across from the ramp. And so during that main event and just that main event, Pat Patterson came out and watched. And I was like, okay, there it is.
Yeah.
Pat had fully moved the elbow off the apron onto the floor. What the hell?
I hate today, bro, when they take bumps on that freaking apron, man. I hate that. So dangerous.
Yeah, there's going to be I don't like it either. You know what? There's an X factor too, is the ropes. Matt Riddle, who's now in NXT, I saw him in a match with Brian Cage where he almost killed himself because he hit the ropes as he flipped off the ring to hit that apron. Because those are the moves when they fly off the top rope onto the apron. They're really dangerous.
Yeah.
Hey, I always wanted to know this, and we should probably put this on the main show. How are the tables gimmicked, the announcers' tables?
They pulled a plug and they just collapsed.
So there's just no bolts in them?
No, and literally it's a plug. I mean, literally it's one of these, if you can see this. I don't know if you can see this, but literally it's this. And the announcer just has to pull the plug and the table collapses. Yeah. So it's a timing issue.
Vince is holding like kind of a key you would see if you raised a tent and you kind of placed something in the hole to keep.
Yeah.
So they would just pull those out.
That's it. It's the timing. They see it. The announcer pulls that as he's getting out of dodge, and the table collapses.
The announcer pulls it.
Yeah, right here. Yep.
So it's not there. Oh, well, that makes sense.
Yep.
Well, damn it. Well.
It's a collapsible table. Yep.
So speaking of secrets of pro wrestling.
Now that was back then. I don't know what they do today. That was back then.
Secrets of Pro Wrestling came out the same month that this went on. Do you remember when that came out?
Did it really?
Yeah. Do you remember?
Wow. That? Yeah, I remember that. Yeah.
It was like Mike Modest and a lot of other guys, I think. And then you see like one guy with a white guy with an afro talking like this. I'm like, oh, Harley Race. What do you know?
Yeah, I remember that. That was a big deal.
It wasn't a big deal among the boys and stuff?
No, I mean, I just remember, me at the time thinking it was a big deal.
Now, you saw a slugfest back and forth between The Rock and Mankind. It's nothing like the slugfest we see now in Japan where they do it 100 times.
Yeah.
Sometimes less is more, I would say, right?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Man, Foley is 300 pounds. He's wrestled a million times a night. And just to see him get in and out of the ring is an amazing thing.
It's amazing, bro. He's a freak, man. The guy's a freak. I mean, he was.
It's watching guys walking in and out of the ring is something you can look at, or as they say, taking a powder when you run out. I always love to see Bobby Heenan leave the ring. He would jump between the ropes and slap his hands on the mat every time. It was just the most perfect thing. It was just fantastic. And there's the Winged Eagle. And you are not a belt guy. I know this.
No.
I have a lot of friends who are serious belt collectors, and they the Winged Eagle and the Big Gold and the Domed Globe, and there's names for all these belts that they collect, and they collect replicas of, and then go on cruise ships apparently.
I don't remember the finish. I can't. I don't know. I'm just watching it. I feel like I'm watching this for the first time. So I see George Napolitano ringside taking pictures.
Oh, wow. the legendary photographer.
Oh, yeah. See, that's it. Yep.
And so now Shane looks happy, kind of, and I think that's actually a shoot Shane. Like, I think that what we just saw. Did you see Shane's reaction?
It was a shoot Shane putting over the spot. It definitely
like, oh,
was.
Shit.
It definitely was, Matt. You could see it.
Shane is such a fan. Like, I empathize as someone who never was able to really impress my dad, no matter how much better I was at him than guitar than him. Like, I empathize with Shane because you really see a guy. I don't want to overanalyze, but you just see a guy who wants his dad to love him. You know what I'm saying?
Yes,
like, that's what I see.
I see it too. I see it too, bro. I'm surprised this match is going this long.
Workhorses.
Yeah.
And I mean, The Rock is still new to the business in a lot of ways. Just those little things like watching Mankind go for that body slam and look at the fans.
Look at the over an elbow, bro, an elbow. This has to be the finish, right?
The people's elbow coming up.
They got to grab his leg or something, right?
Yeah, I think he might.
Somebody's got to pull him out.
Yeah.
Wow, he kicked out. Wow.
One of my least favorite things in wrestling of the Attitude Era is Earl Hebner's 3 count, where you can tell he's not going to hit that third.
Yeah.
Not to criticize, but
are you trying to say that Earl Hebner is no Rudy Charles? Is that what you're trying to say?
Rudy Charles is an excellent, excellent referee. He's awesome.
Uh-oh.
I also like Drake in NXT. He's fantastic. And there's a lot of good referees out there. And Mr. Sacco's coming out, and the fans are into it, even though he's the bad guy. The mandible claw, which renders the opponent paralyzed, I believe, just by hitting the nerve underneath the tongue.
They got it. There's a certain science to it, though, that renders the guy paralyzed.
Wrestling was so much...
Mick actually explained it to me once.
Wrestling was so much better when Gorilla Monsoon was around to explain why every move hurt.
God, he was the best, man.
If you took a shot every time he said carotid artery,
he was the best, man. I got to go back and listen to some of that stuff.
Yeah, the Heenan Monsoon stuff was fantastic, and in a lot of ways, Vince McMahon was too. He was almost transparent as an announcer, which I think a lot of it is what you want a lot of the time.
Yeah.
And Rock is powering out, and I think the expectation is maybe the fans get behind the Rock a little bit, but not too much during this match. But I can't say that. They're
I bet you this was Boss Man's cue. I don't know because I don't know where it's going, but it seems like that would have been a spot.
So they wouldn't have had him kick out of the finisher, though, I don't think, as a... Maybe he did, because Vince looks like he's trying not to worry. Well, he's going for that sharpshooter. Of course, the difference between the sharpshooter and Indian Death or the Scorpion Deathlock is too subtle for us fans to recognize.
So that's it, right?
It's there, yeah.
I just want to turn it up because I want to hear the crowd for a minute. I just want to hear the crowd for this, Matt.
Wow, I'm listening too. So we still haven't had the turn so much because Boss Man did miss his cue. You were totally right. The look on Vince's face and Shane's face said it all when it turned to them. Yeah. And now the hug. The hug. The hug always seals the deal, doesn't it?
Oh, and poor Mick. You talk about character development here. My God, you make Mick the biggest baby face ever. Devastated,
sympathetic. You understand his motivations, which I think is very important for all characters in any fictional thing, is to understand their motivations. You can get inside Mick's head here.
Yeah.
Because he was calling Vince dad.
And the way he sells it, bro, like, look at him, like, he's like...
And so we're running silent here because we're just watching this. But we've got Mick Foley in the corner, what's going on? And Vince takes it, and I'll be happy to elaborate a great deal more tomorrow night. However, one thing I would like to state publicly on behalf of the McMahon family, that we are so proud here tonight for a number of reasons. And there's litter going at them in the ring as, and of course he goes on to say one of them is literally, utterly, totally stone cold is out. And that's the main thing he's happy about. But the other thing is now The Rock is aligned with Vince McMahon, and Mick Foley is the odd man out. How proud of you were on this when it all came down?
Just, that's the best part of it, bro. That's the best part. That is the best part.
And Mick is the ultimate patsy here, or the ultimate, victim here in a lot of ways. And look at babyface Shane, and Foley now doesn't understand what's going on.
Yeah.
And Shane's giving the promo, but he's not mad. He's hurt and he's confused.
He's confused. He's really confused. It's sinking in.
And JR says, Mankind's a very confused, the poor son of a gun. And then The Rock cuts his promo after Vince says, Rock, it's all right. And The Rock is walking around in a ring. And, that's bringing us close to the close of this, pay-per-view that a lot of people wanted to hear you talk about, the 1998 Survivor Series. When you think about this, as we watch the closing moments, what are the thoughts that hit you?
The thoughts that hit me was like, again, bro, I think more important than this moment were the months leading up to it.
Hold on, Mick Foley just said, I'm not really sure I understand what the hell is going on around here. And then the big turn, Rock attacking Foley with the belt. So that's kind of what you look at?
Yeah, no, what I was saying, Matt, was, again, like, this storyline was all in the writing, man. It was precision writing. We set the table like 3 months in advance. I mean, this storyline was all in the writing. With the structure in place today and so many people working on the show at once, you couldn't repeat it. You in today's environment and today's structure, you couldn't repeat it. You could not tell a story like this with 25 writers. I mean, it's got to be, like I said, it wasn't me and Ferrari. It was two people, and we orchestrated this for a number of months, and it was this was writing a story.
Now, this is Survivor Series 1998. Of course, Survivor Series 1997, we have, and Vince raises Rock's hands. We had Montreal, and we've seen a lot of bad and worse Montreal send-ups than this, but this was definitely a little bit of a tip of the hat to Montreal, right?
What do you mean, Matt?
Well, it's kind of a screw job ending, where Vince is in on it just one short year later after he was behind the scenes.
Yeah, but we weren't even that wasn't even on our radar. We weren't thinking that. I mean, I think that's just coincidental.
And now Austin runs to the ring. Austin makes his appearance, and the fans go crazy. And Vince is getting out of town. Wow, look at these guys. These two guys.
Oh, jeez.
The two biggest names.
Listen to the people.
Austin gets his stunner in, does the double bird, and that's not enough for him because he realizes he's been screwed too.
And poor Mick in the ring laid out.
This is we'll talk about it as soon as it's over, but this is a lost art for WWE, what we just witnessed from Stone Cold Steve Austin. And now we have a moment with Austin. He's so great. He
is laying Mick out, right? No doubt.
Yeah.
Oh, God. Tremendous.
And even though the bad guys won, and that's what everybody's talking about, the music that's playing is Stone Cold Steve Austin. Why was that so important, Vince?
What?
the fact that despite the screw job, why didn't you just leave it with a big dark moment?
Bro, tomorrow night, man. Tomorrow night, Austin's on a rampage tomorrow night. Bro, again, let's just go to Survivor Series this year. Okay, bro? What was the last match on the Survivor Series?
Brian and Brock.
Brock wasn't even on the show the next night. That's why we did all that, bro. The story continues. Can you imagine the mood Austin is going to be in when he shows up tomorrow night? What the hell is going to happen, bro? What's Mick Foley going to do? And like I said, bro, Brock Lesnar not even on the show. And we will pick up this story on Raw right where it left off, bro. You're going to tune in at 9 o'clock, and we're going to be right there.
But I guess the point is I'm making as it draws to a close, and we draw very close to a close of this Patreon version, unless we get, the YouTube subscribers in a day, which is a tall order. But I'm talking more of the fact that we have so many bad guy beatdowns without any moments really of redemption or the good guy getting what they call their heat back. Austin gets, I hate using wrestling insider terms, but it applies. Austin gets his heat back at the end of the show, but so many angles of WWE right now, they don't. It just ends with the bad guy getting the upper hand.
Oh, yeah, I mean, again, it was like it was like, my God, Matt. First of all, the brand split is a freaking work. Can we stop with the Raw guy can't go on SmackDown? It's the stupidest thing I ever heard. It's the WWE. Here's the perfect case in point, bro. This is what I would have wrote. And again, this isn't Vince Russo genius. This is Vince Russo obvious. Okay, bro? I would have wrote that first segment of SmackDown. Charlotte goes out there. She's cutting the promo. Okay, bro? Paige goes out there, finding you $100,000, this, that, or the other thing. Charlotte says, no problem, but I'm going to take every last dime out of your ass, and starts getting big time heat on freaking Paige, because we care about Paige a little bit. We don't care about the Iconics, right? She's getting heat just when she's about. The announcers selling, what she got, the bad neck? Is it the neck?
Yeah.
Yeah, the announcers selling the neck. Charlotte setting her up with a neck breaker or something. The neck. Oh my God, Paige could be paralyzed. Here comes Ronda Rousey through the crowd. Okay, all out freaking brawl. That's what would have happened. Now, let's take that last scene in Survivor Series, Matt. You know how I'm talking about always protecting every character. Okay, guys, keep this in mind. The last time we saw Austin and McMahon, they exited the building. Remember, Matt? They exited in cars. The chase was on. Okay, now, if Vince would have came back at the end and The Rock would have went over and we would have held up his hand and Austin would have never returned, Vince would have outsmarted Stone Cold Steve Austin. They lost him in traffic. They took a detour, whatever the case may be. They got back to the building to finish their plan, and they got over on Austin. No, bro, we've got to protect Austin. Now, Austin got there a little late, but nonetheless, Austin got there. You didn't outsmart Austin. We protect every freaking character. Ronda Rousey looks like the biggest puss in the world when Charlotte beats the shit out of her with a kendo stick, and the first time you see Charlotte, you do not see Ronda Rousey.
Yeah, you don't want to see Ronda Rousey as like this perpetual victim. It's yes. And also everybody's got something to do, and everybody, and I would agree. I think that's a great idea. Ronda Rousey comes through the crowd. Let's talk about, it's not just, and we're going to wind this down, but I want to finish with this, is that it's not just that you go to the next night, but it's what you did the next night. The next night, you kind of broke a long-standing WWF, standard where you had The Rock versus Steve Austin. And to quote Wade Keller, from a star power standpoint, there was no question before, during, or after the Survivor Series that Rock is one of the top 2 or 3 stars for the next 5 years for the WWF. By the end of Raw on Monday night, the WWF was all smiles as the Rock versus Austin rematch was one of the most electrifying 20 minutes of wrestling television of the decade. It compared favorably to the atmosphere surrounding Goldberg's title win over Hogan, but rose above that because of the quality of the match was several levels higher. The fan heat was so intense, it validated that Austin and Rock are the new top 2 stars in the WWF. Sean who? Brett who? That's pretty good praise right there.
Yeah, no, and that's just on those guys, bro. I mean, we can write it, but unless they go out there and perform it, it doesn't matter, and that's the beauty of it, bro. Whatever we wrote, we knew they were going to knock out of the freaking ballpark.
So many questions, so many things to talk about, but we're going to bring this episode to a close. Thank you for being Patreon subscribers. Thank you for supporting Truth with Consequences. Vince, this was a lot of fun. Thanks for doing it with me.
Yeah, no, it was a lot of fun, man. And I love, man, because like I said, man, I don't go back and watch this stuff. But when I do, I become a fan again, bro. That's really where my mind goes. I get so into what I'm watching and I don't remember what did we do. And I'm not even thinking about like writing this stuff. I become a fan of wrestling again. And that's probably what I miss more than anything, bro.